hit the button. I thought I could do it on OBS. My
Oh,
bad.
man. No, it's okay.
I
do.
We go through the whole thing. Oh, wait, it wasn't live.
All right, let me try that again.
It's like Shima switching the Yamato's
guys,
engine on in like the first few episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Jeff Lincoln. I am the director and founder of Typhon Media Productions. We are the hosts of this 50th anniversary of Space Battleship Yamato event. And tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing some special guests, our cast for Saga of a Space Battleship, and the dedicated crew behind the scenes. Tonight I am joined...
Jeff, if you don't have the Discord window selected, all of our cameras appear as gray screens.
It's currently selected if it's currently up. Apologies.
We all just see gray screens right now.
Oh, jeez. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Just return...
No, it works.
Really?
I'm seeing it. Yeah, I see it.
We're currently seeing...
good. Okay, never mind. We're good.
All right. I was going to say...
There's a delay.
My cursor was messed up.
Oh, all right. That's... All right,
Yeah.
Fair enough. Technical difficulties, folks. Sorry about that.
My bad.
So tonight we are, in fact, joined by a couple of special guests, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce them now. This is Tim Eldred of OurStarblazers.com. Tim, go ahead and give a shout-out to those participating.
Greetings, Fandom.
And I am also joined tonight by a very special guest, Eddie Allen, the original voice actor of Desslok.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, Eddie. Thank you for participating. I'm also joined by several members of our voice cast for Saga of a Space Battleship. Antonio Bustos, who is playing Tasuke Tokugawa. I am also joined by Doug Dimmadome, who is playing Shiro Sanada.
Howdy.
Ethan Callum, who is playing Shima. Jiro Shima, to be specific, the younger brother of Daisuke Shima.
Hello.
And Lance, who is playing Damian O'Reilly.
Hello, everyone.
Unfortunately, Lance does not have his webcam on, so all we got was a Discord icon. All right, and then I am also joined by Warren Swanson, DJ Chief. This gentleman created our 3D model of the Yamato for Saga of a Space Battleship and is an absolute mad lad and has a 8-foot Yamato behind him.
Oh, man. What's up, guys?
And I'm also joined by Ethan Zartan. I believe I pronounced that wrong.
Zaratan.
Ethan is also one of our crew members who created several of our Getlantis models for Saga of a Space Battleship. Alrighty, guys.
Hi.
So, welcome. It's been, 50 years of enjoying one of, if not the best animes to be ever created. Yeah, I'm actually kind of speechless right now. I had something written down and everything, but I've just completely tossed that out because I am awestruck just by the sheer awesomeness of this community for not only supporting Yamato, but also supporting Saga of a Space Battleship and Typhon Media Productions. On behalf of all of us, I want to say thank you very much. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual streaming of Episode 3 of Saga of a Space Battleship. For those that have not seen the first 2 episodes, you can easily find it on our YouTube channel, which you are currently watching from. I would highly recommend that you watch them at your earliest convenience. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into this 3rd episode, if I can find the file. All right, here we go, guys. Thank you very much once again for attending.
Time to go, we know, from the earth that we love so, and the cruiser which is called Yamato. Fighting in the stars above, fighting for the earth we love, speeding onward, roaring by, we will return by and by. But for now, we must remain, we must fight, endure the pain. All the hopes of those we love are with us as we fly above. Leaving now the Milky Way, marching on for the Iskander, save the Earth from each dreaded foe, and our space cruiser Yamato.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
Yeah, safe to talk now?
Head bopping.
Yeah, go right ahead. What's up?
Okay. First of all, I just wanted to point out that when you appear on YouTube, your screen is flopped.
Oh,
so your logo reads backwards.
Oh, mine? Yeah, I don't know why it does that. That's a Discord thing.
Okay.
All right.
The rest of us are okay, though.
All right, and as just to double check, is everything coming through clear on the audio for the video that is being played?
It is, although you paused it.
Yep. No, I got a notification on my phone, and I was like, oh, let me pause this. Let's check everything.
Which channel? What's the title of the YouTube channel?
Typhon,
I didn't know that.
Typhon Media Productions.
Oh, okay.
For those participating and watching the stream right now, I do apologize. This is the first time I've done a live stream in 5 years, so there might be a few technical hiccups.
Good. I'm probably going to deafen so I can listen to the actual episode, and then I'll probably give commentary afterwards.
All good. I guess go.
it's moving again.
Well, old friend, we're here again. Earth is in danger, and you've been brought to life to save her. I can only hope you'll forgive me for bringing you back.
Shiro Sanada, Science Division and Executive Officer, reporting in.
Jiro Shima, Chief Navigator, reporting in.
Tasuke Tokugawa, Chief Engineer, reporting in.
Addie Foyers, Chief Combat Officer, reporting in.
Isuo Nanbu, Assistant Gunnery Officer, reporting in.
Kenjihiro Oda, Assistant Navigator, reporting in.
Damian O'Reilly, Chief Radar Officer, reporting in.
I am Susumu Kodai. I will be Yamato's captain. Some of you know me, others you will in time. For now, take your stations and begin launch prep. Sanada, is the plan ready?
The main computer is online and standing by to establish a connection to the Massachusetts.
I spoke with General Ihara before leaving HQ. They're standing by to lower the planetary shield.
Very good. Let's get to it, people.
Beginning sub-engine startup sequence.
Miyuki, contact EDF HQ. Request permission to launch.
Aye, sir.
Primary weapon systems reporting green. All power indications show ECS lines are functional.
Pulse laser grid and missile tubes report green. Black Tigers report ready. Major Williams is reporting the Marines are all tucked in and their equipment secure.
Navigational computer and short-range radar online and ready.
Active and passive radar standing by, reporting as green.
Control surfaces reporting green. Helm reports fully functional.
Life Sciences and Damage Control on standby.
Main engine checks completed.
Begin engine startup sequence, Chief. Nambu, retract the gangplanks and seal all external hatches. Jiro, stand by for sub-engine ignition.
Beginning energy charge.
Raise anchor.
Sub-engines, ahead 1/2. Exiting Pearl Harbor dockyards. Now entering open water. Depth under the keel is 20 meters and rising.
Energy buildup 120%. Starting main engine flywheel.
Main engine pressure climbing. Now at 2,000. 10 seconds to launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact! Wave motion engine maximum output!
Yamato, lift off!
Space Battleship Yamato, lifting off! We have successful liftoff, trimming all control surfaces for atmospheric flight.
Sanada, are you ready?
There is much more interference than expected. Boosting gain to attempt remote connection to the Massachusetts.
Lieutenant Foyers, stand by on weapons.
Charging main guns. Loading torpedo and missile tubes.
Charging pulse laser grid.
Connection to Massachusetts established. The ship is in much worse condition than expected, Captain. Getting her to detonate will be fairly simple.
Good. Ota, O'Reilly, begin warp prep.
Standing by for warp calculations. Engine output normal.
Detonation sequence prime.
Miyuki, stand by. On my order, tell HQ to lower the shields.
Aye, sir.
Enemy fleet intensifying firepower. I think they detect us, Captain.
Computations complete. The computer estimates arrival in Mars space within a 95% margin of success.
Feed the coordinates to Jiro Station.
Coordinates on the way. The enemy is gathering in our flight path, Captain.
Final checks. All departments ready?
Go. Go.
Go.
Go. Go.
Execute escape plan. Sanada, detonate! Lower planetary shield.
Lower the shield.
Jiro, begin warp countdown.
Countdown is started. Warp in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warp!
Status report, people.
Engines at standby, Captain.
0 damage reported.
Sciences report all green.
Sensors show the immediate area clear of enemy contacts. However, I am detecting the mothball fleet on the opposite side of the planet.
Communications green. No signals in local space. Transmissions from EDF HQ are garbled and non-decipherable at this time.
Navigational computer reports no anomalies. We've arrived only 15 megameters out of the intended destination.
Very good. Helm, plot an intercept course for the mothball fleet. Good work, everyone. Miyuki, inform the crew they're free to move about and perform their duties now.
Captain, I'd like to take a moment to speak with our CAG and organize some combat drills.
Do it. The sooner we're prepared to...
Captain, radar. Enemy fleet detected. They're practically on top of the mothball fleet.
Kodai, we need that fleet.
Enemy fleet size.
Current count shows 3 battleship types, 10 destroyer types, 24 shard fighter types, and at least 3 carrier types, Captain.
Have they detected us?
I think Mars is masking our current position. However, it's likely the fleet surrounding Earth will have calculated our trajectory. They could easily send them a heads up, Captain.
O'Reilly, can you enhance your scan without them picking it up?
No, sir. If we intensify the scans, we will definitely be picked up.
We could use the Black Tigers to scout the enemy position.
Won't the Black Tigers be detected just as easily as us if we close the distance?
Radio silence and no active scans to keep them safe.
Get the Black Tigers in the air. All hands, battle stations.
Action stations! Action stations! All hands report to battle stations!
Black Tigers, you are being tasked to recon the enemy fleet on the opposite side of Mars. Radio silence and no radar. Observe and return.
Major, I'll have the rest of the Tigers fly cover around the Yamato.
I'll see you in 5. Flyboy, ready for launch.
Flyboy, you are clear to launch.
Okay, there they are. They look asleep? That's unreal. Flyboy to Yamato. Recon pass complete. The enemy is just parked there. It's like they're asleep or something.
Copy that, Flyboy. Stand by for tasking.
If the enemy is powered down, it could be the perfect time to strike.
Agreed. The destruction of a support fleet could draw attention on us even further.
We can approach the enemy from the side if we attack along a parallel vector. We'll be able to broadside from long range with all of our main guns easily.
Agreed. Jiro, punch it. Bring us to full combat speed. Main guns, prepare to target the enemy carriers first.
All weapon systems are ready.
Engine output full. Give me all you got, Chief.
Main engine ready. ECS grid online and functional.
Yamato, attack! Black Tigers, launch and provide covering fire. Keep those shards off of us.
All guns ready to fire.
Locking target. Target's locked.
Enemy fleet has detected us, Captain. The carriers appear to be launching shard fighters.
Fire!
Three targets destroyed. Collateral damage on several others.
Target the destroyers!
Enemy ships are turning to meet us. They're returning fire.
Starboard side shields impact. Integrity down to 85%.
Target's locked. Returning fire.
Remaining enemy targets are splitting up. They're attempting to flank us.
Shard fighters closing to attack range.
Black Tigers, intercept those fighters! Jiro, hard to port! Foyers, forward guns to the first group! Aft guns to the second group! Fire at will!
Oh, we kicked the Hornet's nest. New signals have warped in aft of our position.
Fire intercept shield missiles! Cover our rear! Stack tubes! Full spread! Target the enemy ships behind us!
Chief, weapon system power is draining fast.
The ECS grid is beginning to overload. There must be a fault in the grid somewhere.
Can we bypass the fault?
We need time to find it, and in the middle of a battle is not the right time or the place to do it.
Foyers, do whatever you can to eliminate the rest of the First Fleet. Ota, begin warp prep. Destination, Saturn.
Locking missiles and forward batteries.
Miyuki, get the Black Tigers back in.
All Black Tigers, RTB. Repeat, Black Tigers, RTB.
Black Tigers, RTB.
Warp status.
Course plotted. Clear of all obstacles.
Engine power is at minimal levels. Shunning remaining power from combat and defensive systems.
Aligning ship for warp.
Black Tigers are aboard and accounted for.
Remaining enemy ships are keeping their distance, Captain.
Energy now meets minimum requirement for warp, Captain.
Jiro, get us out of here. Warp!
IQ-9? Where are we?
You'll find your robotic friend offline.
Who are you? What am I doing here? What happened to my ship and crew?
Please, relax. I mean you no harm. We rescued you and your crew from those who are attacking you.
That doesn't answer all my questions.
I am Brentel. Welcome to Relay 06. There is much we need to discuss, starting with, who are you?
I am Mori Yuki Kodai, captain of the Confederation explorer vessel Hijikata.
Captain Kodai. Interesting name. What is the last thing you remember?
My ship. It was under attack from something. We don't quite know what it was.
Unfortunately, I do. All too well.
You said you rescued us, but it sounds like you might feel responsible.
Not entirely, but somewhat. This is going to be a long story.
Alrighty. So that was episode 3 of Saga of a Space Battleship. I just
How long was that?
That
did not feel like 20 minutes. I agree with your sister. That's it.
Yeah, I think your sister was right. That's it.
That was exactly 19 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. So I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Other than, what did you guys think?
That was amazing. The pacing was really good.
It was great. I love the battle scene.
Thank you.
Still use of soundtrack as well.
It's one thing to read the script. It's quite another to actually see it all in full context. It was brilliant. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys. Tim, Eddie, what did you guys think? Since you are our special guest for the night, I'd love to hear your opinions. Tim, I know you had to step away at one point. Were you able to see the majority of it, though?
Yeah, I am very impressed by the craftsmanship and the effort. It's clear from frame one that everybody's in love with the work, and it just pours out of the screen. So well done, everybody.
Thank you, Tim. And Eddie, what's your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive. So I just for clarity, because I came in, I was trying to go over to the YouTube channel. Who actually did the graphics, the whole thing? Who was responsible for that?
Well, it's kind of threefold. So, Warren created our Yamato model.
Wow.
Ethan created our
EDF HQ, the EDF buildings, the curriculums, and
it was it was a huge effort.
And
all of the assets that we use in the show, including the character models and everything like that, it's all from the three of us. All three of us built all of them.
Yes. But for I don't want to seem egotistical or anything like that, but
you're the only animator,
I'm
man.
the
Like,
only
come on,
animator.
you gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta raise you up, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I'm not just the only animator. Like I said, I really don't want to seem egotistical. I'm trying to be humble here, but I directed, I wrote, and I animated the entire production. And
Wow.
Saga of a Space Battleship is slated to be 26 episodes, a proper season-length series. And a lot of this stuff I'm learning on the fly.
And what kind of, may I ask? I mean, just technically, what kind of program do you use to do that kind of stuff?
I use two programs. Both are free. The first one, which is the primary program, is called Blender. Blender Studio allows me to 3D model, animate, and edit all the video and audio together. The characters themselves, I'm going to admit a fault here. I've been practicing this for well over 15 years, and I cannot model a human figure worth a damn. Every time that I do, it ends up looking like a clown. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean it is so disproportional, it is not funny. So I ended up scouring the internet for character creators, and I ran across a website called Pixiv, and they offer a program called Vroid. Turns out Vroid is used heavily in the VTubing community for people that aren't comfortable with showing their real face on camera, so they create a virtual avatar using this program. I found out you can export the character models into Blender to modify them to be the way you want, and I thought to myself, wait a minute, if they modify these characters to be the way they want on a virtual YouTube channel, why can't I just animate them? So now I'm animating characters as well. So I've turned into a little bit of a jack of all trades, but like I said, I don't want to toot my own horn or seem egotistical. It's a collaborative effort, and while I might have written the story, it's just that without the vocal cast. And as you are very much aware, Eddie, it's an art form. Without the cast, it would be nothing. And I really, really got to give props to the people that have come together for this, because some of the cast members, they're not Yamato fans. They have no idea what Yamato is, and they just looked at it as an opportunity to hone their skills, and they have absolutely blown my mind.
Well, it's a collaboration.
Absolutely. It is definitely a collaboration. Without them, I would be nothing. And
well, it blows my mind every time you see credits, too. I just, no matter what the project, it's amazing how many people it takes to put something together.
Absolutely. And I also need to, I said this privately not a half hour ago, I have to give a lot of props to Tim and our starblazers.com. It is a very, very handy resource to do something like this. I found myself going back constantly to his Star Blazers Rebirth and Bolar Wars extended comics for reference images on how to make the interiors and the backgrounds. It was actually Warren who actually approached me years ago for another project that we've been working on that's Yamato related. The first couple of renders that I made, he's like, something just doesn't seem right about the background in the star field, and he talked to Tim, and they both came up with the idea of changing the background to what we see for space. So it really is a collaborative effort, and some of these people just didn't even know that they were involved until later on. So I really have to give my heartfelt thanks to the cast and the crew for their hard work, especially since this is a fan production and there is no kind of monetary gain to be had. It's practice for everybody.
It's a very beautiful result from everyone's exchange of creative ideas. And while there are some movies and franchises that give credit to creative consultants, in the case of this project, we kind of were all creative consultants just throwing our hat into this. And yeah, it's really fun.
Yes,
So
it is.
cool.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into the Q&A session now. And Eddie, I know that you said you had limited time. So a couple of questions I wanted to pose to you. How did you get involved in Star Blazers initially? Was it a casting call? Was it something that somebody approached you and just said, "Hey, I have a role for you"? Can you?
No, it
recall?
was I was working at this. It was it's called Wiesbaden. It was a school for teaching actors how to, act for TV and stuff like that. And somebody said, "Hey, there's this audition. You want to go to it?" And oh yeah, why not? So went to this studio, and I wish I could capture. I've been acting for a long time. I wish I could capture the fun that I had during that time. I was just having a blast auditioning for this thing. I love to do voices. Even now, I just play around with voices, and there it was, and I got to do my favorite Boris Karloff, and it was just it was quite a joy. I wish I could pass that joy on to other actors that are auditioning for stuff, but it was really a lot of fun, and then even doing it was a blast.
Awesome. At the time, did you know that it was going to garner such I don't want to use the word cult, but such an interesting following over the years as time went on?
I had no idea. In fact, I did it, and then many years later, people say, "Oh, I'd get somebody say, 'Oh, you were Desslok,' and it's like I didn't really follow much of anime." And then I can't remember, it must have been late 80s or so. Tim, you contacted me, and then we had some kind of interview, some kind of interview or something like that.
I contacted you in 2001, and we conducted a live interview with you and Ken Mesereau in my apartment in Culver City on September 11th.
Oh, geez. Oh,
yeah.
My gosh.
We scheduled it for September 11th, like 2 or 3 weeks in advance. And I checked in with both of you guys that morning, and you were both still up for it. So we did it.
We did it. Yeah. So, it just, and then through the years, I just, people would say, "Oh yeah, my father or so-and-so used to watch this." And then, so it was a little bit of a surprise to me, because I kind of did it like a lot of jobs and just kind of put it aside. So a pleasant surprise.
There are a few questions coming up for you on the YouTube chat. One is whether you did your lines without having met anyone else from the cast at the time. I know a lot of people recorded separately.
No, actually, I was fortunate. We would because it was wear a mask here. Could you please say as does, "We'll stop them in the sea of fire on red." I couldn't say it all way. Lines having said, I'll have to. I'm trying to get the whole screen. Wait a second.
No problem.
I'm sorry. Say the question one more time. I got distracted. Very easy for me.
Were you able to act with other actors, or were you on your own?
Yes. No. We had a chance. At least you'd be with a couple actors or whatever. It just made it so much easier, because then you could interact or whatever. So the thing, and I mentioned this in the interview, one of the things I remember the most is listening to Japanese backwards, because I had to rewind the tape sometimes.
Fair enough. I actually have one question here from Jat Jordan. It said, did you ever get a chance to meet the original Japanese voice actor for Desslok?
Unfortunately, no. No.
All right. Wow, I just lost my train of thought there. I am so sorry.
No, there was many characters to like Desslok through anime. My favorites being.
I actually do have a question.
Go ahead, Chief.
Are you still in contact with any of the other original voice actors that worked on Star Blazers?
The only person, and I haven't, just mainly through like Facebook or something like that. Ken Mesereau occasionally. Here and there, but I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but he's the only one through the years. And then Amy, I did do a lot, back and forth when she was alive with on Facebook and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it.
All right. Does anybody else in the cast have any questions for Eddie before we move on to Tim? Because, like I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Eddie. I don't know if you have.
No, I have a little time. Yeah. I'm just trying to read these things. The biggest persons or characters like Desslok throughout anime. Favorites galaxy here. Would you ever want to voice act more space opera? Oh yeah. No, it would be a blast to do another villain. Villains are so much fun. So much fun.
Absolutely. Oh, I got a question, if I may. Yeah. Is Desslok your favorite character to have voiced?
I think so. Just it's a kind of a dual type of thing. Because I liked Boris Karloff so much growing up, it's kind of like a double type of thing. The fact that I was able to actually use that as a model or whatever. Yeah. An answer to your question.
Out of curiosity, I don't mean to imply anything. I don't know anything in the future. Would you be open to voicing him again at some point?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Be fun. I have certain. Being a union actor, it gets a little tricky, sometimes. But yeah. Anyway.
Awesome.
I'll have to keep that in mind, Eddie.
I'd like to add that everybody should keep a close eye on certain TV commercials because Eddie is still popping up here and there.
That was going to be my next question. Do you have anything upcoming that you can talk about?
No, really right now, COVID kind of, I'm doing live stuff and I'm working, I'm doing things here and there, but COVID just put such a change in the whole business for actors. Now, instead of going auditioning in person, we self-tape ourselves, we send it in. Voiceover people are a little luckier because that being able to record something, or they have apps that allow you to record with a casting person or whatever like that. And anyway.
All right. I just want to finish up with one last question for you, Eddie.
Sure.
I apologize if I'm pronouncing this name wrong, but I believe it's Ian Twinning on YouTube. Question: what was your favorite moment as Desslok? If you can recall.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's a favorite moment, but I really enjoyed, I loved his laugh. It was just kind of silly and kind of fun. So I think, but I can't think of anything specifically. Oh, that's my favorite moment, but it was just fun to do, really.
Desslok definitely did have a unique laugh.
Yes.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much, Eddie, for participating in this. And,
absolutely. I'll hang for a few more minutes. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I believe I speak on behalf of everybody here. It's a true honor to have you participate, and I thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's really exciting that people still, remember, and like the show so much. So.
All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to Tim Eldred. Tim, how did you originally get involved in the Star Blazers Yamato fandom?
Well, the fandom sort of emerged out of the gray ooze in the early 1980s when a few of us who had watched the show and recorded it if we had the ability, started to turn up at local sci-fi conventions. And I can only speak for the Midwest where I grew up. But we brought our videotapes with us, and we would set up in hotel rooms and, put flyers here and there around the convention area saying, Japanese animation video room, come to this room and watch cartoons with us. And Star Blazers would always be one of the big ones. Those were also the days when Space Battleship Yamato TV episodes and movies were just starting to make their way over. thanks to home video. So I'm talking 1983, 84. And it was a real grassroots effort to take a TV show that wasn't even on the air anymore and do some outreach to find other people who had watched it and then introduce them to not only the original version, but the sequels that they may not have even heard of. And so you multiply that effort across multiple states and multiple years, and you have the beginning of anime fandom. So Star Blazers was a very important instrument in that as a bridge into Space Battleship Yamato. And then when people got comfortable with that, then the natural question was, what else do you got? And then we jumped to Captain Harlock or Galaxy Express, the stuff that looked like Yamato. And then from there, you branch out into other things. And so I'm very proud to have had a role in the birth of the anime fandom in America. And the more I've learned about Japanese fandom, the more I realized that we ran on parallel tracks in many ways. And we also have them to thank for the longevity of Yamato, because the very first generation of Japanese fans were the activists. They were the ones who brought it back from the brink when the original TV series kind of fell by the wayside due to low ratings. The fandom stepped up and kind of demanded more, and that led to TV reruns, and that led to movies, and that led to expanded media. And without them, none of us would be sitting here right now. So as happy as I am about the organic way that fandom grew up in America, we owe it all to the predecessors in Japan. So shout out to them.
Fantastic. Now, you were also somewhat directly involved in distribution, if I recall, when you ran starblazers.com, but that was through Voyager Entertainment, correct?
I was a freelancer for Voyager Entertainment for many, many years. We got in touch in the mid to late 90s when I was a comic book artist full-time, and I had a little group called Studio Go. And we approached Voyager Entertainment once we learned who they were, because they had all of the American rights to Star Blazers for home video and other media. And we came to them with a crazy idea. We thought, you know what? If you guys would like to make a comic book, we can produce it for you. We can do all the work. We know as much as you need us to know about the content and what the fans are looking for. And so they said yes, and we did several issues of a comic book. Then there was a little bit of a break, and they started moving it from VHS to DVD, and they contacted me again to produce the DVDs for them. So that's not distribution per se, but I was closely involved with the company that owned Star Blazers for many years, and that ultimately led to starblazers.com, which became my pet project, and then that evolved into our starblazers.com, which is still going today.
That's awesome. Now, while you were still involved with starblazers.com, I did a little bit of research, and I came across a fan dub version of Farewell to Space Battleship Yamato. Was that actually a fan dub, or was that actually something that was a creation of Voyager, or am I getting this completely wrong? Because I can't find much information on it, even searching our starblazers.com. It just might be on my end.
Well, it was not a fan dub. It was professionally made, and I'm pretty sure Streamline Pictures was the production company that handled it, because several of the actors in their stable were in the cast. And that was released in America on VHS, and also in Japan on a completely different format. Well, it was still VHS, but it was a language learning format. And so they released a dubbed VHS of a film with a bilingual script for Japanese viewers who could watch the movie and then read the script and compare the two languages and learn some English from it.
Awesome. And I actually have a question from Ian Twinning, again, for you, Tim. What inspired you to
I was
research
just
the
about to
history?
type my answer to that, so thank you.
Okay, let me just go ahead and read that for people who are following along. What inspired you to
Yeah.
research the history of primarily Yamato and Star Blazers?
Love, pure love. There's no better motivator. I watched that show back when I was 14, 15 years old, and it made me want to make comics and TV cartoons. And I grew up and did exactly that. And so everything that I pour back into Yamato is my thank you. It put me on my path. It gave me a life that I might not have found otherwise. And so everything I do for it now, I do out of love.
Can't find a better motivator than that. So I do have one more question from SUS Reaper. Yes, we see what you did with your username there. Tim, do you recall how much Resurrection media there was around at its release? As a US Resurrection superfan, it's been quite a hassle to find media on it, especially compared to the remake or the original series.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot out there. That's sort of a problem that goes with feature films. They're not expected to be in the public eye for very long. And so unless it's part of a gigantic franchise like Mobile Suit Gundam, they're not going to do a whole lot of merchandising. But everything that I know about has been reported at the website. And so if you go to the Resurrection section of our starblazers.com, you'll find out everything I know.
Fantastic. I'll actually edit the description of this live stream at the end to include the link to our starblazers.com. I just realized I completely forgot to put it on there, and I do apologize for that. Let's see. I actually want to answer that question, William. Currently, there's no public knowledge whether 2205 is going to get a dubbed or a sub-release. It's up to Crunchyroll at this point. Unless... Tim, you have other news for us on that one, but
No,
I
don't know anything about a dub happening there.
I can actually give the answer to that. So what happened was Sony owns Crunchyroll, and the original license holders of the Yamato remake was Funimation. And as you know, Sony and Crunchyroll, they bought out Funimation. So right now, in the aftermath of that, they're still trying to bring over all the licenses that Funimation has had into Crunchyroll, and because of that, it's been hell. So many anime that were on Funimation's platform and Crunchyroll are just completely gone now. Just lost media because of the licensing issue. It's been crazy. So until that gets sorted out, we have no idea. But there is on the official Star Blazers Yamato website, if you scroll down on the sidebar, you will see a link to a Google form. They are looking for people who want to license it like here. It's so there's hope. We just have to wait and see.
And there's no better series to relate to the feeling and drive of hope than Space Battleship Yamato. I'd say it's probably at the core of what makes Yamato great, is that there's always hope for a better tomorrow.
Well, we still have Eddie with us. I'd like to ask him a question. Have you tuned into any of the remakes or any of the newer productions for Space Battleship Yamato?
You know, it's funny. I was just looking up a person I met that wrote one of the scripts. His kids went to the same school that my kids went to when I was living in California, Tab Murphy. So I was going to ask, Tim, if he ever met Tab or knew of anything or seen the. I didn't know if they made a production of that particular Star Blazers. Are you familiar with it?
Tab Murphy, did he work on scripts for the original Star Blazers or something else?
Not the original. I think it was had the unenviable task of compressing the show's first season, the entire quest for Ishkantar storyline for 26 half-hour episodes. So Yeah.
I wonder
know
if
that-
he had a hand in the live-action film that we were trying to shop around.
Oh, I see. I see. It was the Star Blazers written September 1997. Wow, that's not right.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
In the late '90s, there was an attempt to write a script for a live-action film, and it went through I'll just say it went through a lot of evolution, and so it ended up not looking a whole lot like the original. And it struggled to get attention up until about 3 or 4 years ago, when they just kind of declared it dead. No studio was interested in picking it up, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
see, I met him.
I don't
after
think
that.
it's going to go anywhere, but I'd
Right,
love to
right.
get in touch with him if you can connect us.
He is on the. I'm friends with him on. Yeah, we'll figure a way. If you send me your info, I can pass it on to him.
Okay.
All right.
In terms of Space Battleship Yamato content, though, they've been remaking all sorts of stuff, starting with the original series in 2012. I'm just curious if you've had a chance to see any of it.
No, I haven't. I should do my homework.
All right,
Sorry.
we'll fix that.
Yeah, no.
Really a good remake.
No, the remake. Actually, this leads into one of the questions that we got, and this is for everyone in attendance. What do you think of the current remake that is out in market right now? That is being currently made. What do you guys think? Personally, I'm absolutely in love with it. I do have my personal ups and downs when it comes to a particular season. But for the most part, it's a dream come true. I get to somewhat live what my father lived when he was a kid. He would run home to watch Star Blazers on TV when it would debut. And with the current remake, I get to come home from work and I can throw on a new episode of the remake series when they drop. And it's a joy. It's an absolute joy. And I hope that they continue going on through to Final Yamato and beyond. I don't want Yamato to end. So that's my feelings on it. Tim, I'll go. I'm gonna let you answer that question. How do you currently feel about the current remake series?
Well, it gave me the best gift I could have asked for, which is the opportunity to see it all over again, but not know what's going to happen next.
Fantastic.
So,
sorry.
yeah, and they do the story complete justice. They leave some things out. They plug new things in. It is not exactly the same story, but it doesn't need to be. If I want to see the exact story, I'll go back to the original. The latest one is based on Be Forever Yamato, mashed together with Yamato 3. I was lucky enough to go see the premiere in Japan back in July, and it's just overwhelming. It's incredible. It goes way beyond anything I could imagine doing or could have anticipated. And then a week after it premiered in Japan, it premiered for us there on Crunchyroll. So everybody can see it.
All right. Thank you, Tim. So I'm going to just go down the line here. Antonio, this actually leads into the cast questions, so this works out great. What are your thoughts on the remake, or have you seen the remake series?
You're talking about what, $21.99, right? And on?
Correct. $21.99,
Yeah.
$22.02, and $22.05, and $31.99 now.
Yeah. So I mean, I love it. Like visually, it's like when I saw the remake for the first time, I was just blown away. Especially like when you get the graphics of how Earth looks, and they're throwing the asteroids at the planet. It's just, I was immediately hooked when I saw the dire situation that humanity found itself in, and yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
I'm going to take off. It's been a pleasure really Tim, I just texted your old number from back when. I don't know if you still have it, but if you do,
Yes.
fabulous. Okay. Take care, all.
Eddie, it's
been fantastic.
See you later, Eddie.
It's been an honor.
Bye.
It's so nice to see you all again.
Oh gosh.
Thank you, Eddie. You have a wonderful night.
welcome.
and
Desslok. Come on, Desslok.
Take care.
That was
Oh
awesome.
man.
All
Right
right. So next in the line, Warren, how do you feel about the remake series? I'm
Well,
looking
I
forward to
mean,
this.
I guess it just speaks for itself, to be honest. If the original series was the spark for my love for Yamato, which was already pretty strong, then the remake pretty much dumped a gasoline fire on it. I remember my dad showing me the trailer when I was in 5th grade. It was the 30-second one where it was playing the music from the 1977 Symphonic Suite album because they didn't have the new soundtrack complete yet. When I was 11, my grandfather had lung cancer. So my mom and I went to Korea to support him. And at Gundam Base, Side 3, it was a hobby store that was Gundam-centric, but it sold all Bandai products. There was a huge, massive display just dedicated to all things Yamato, the new models coming from the series, as well as a bunch of the classic ones from Yamato 2, and display models and stuff like that. They had like a huge glass case. I wish I took more photos, but they had a huge glass case of all the 1/1000 kits depicting the Battle of the Rainbow Star Cluster.
Wow.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, that definitely just... Yeah, brought me back into model building. Just fantastic. And yeah, no, the visuals are amazing. Completely how my child brain interpreted all of the old cell paintings from the VHS copies that I had. And yeah, the remake, while a lot of people typically, I feel like, watch Space Battleship Yamato for the battle scenes, I love the focus on the themes of love and drama and the expansion of that, that the new remake series has taken a focus on. It's a very nice departure from the, oh, this is a new character, let's kill him, in the the writing of the 80s, because I feel like if there is one critique that I had with the original series, it's that it gradually became more into like war stories rather than stories about hope towards the latter half of the original series in terms of like all the movies and stuff like that. So I'm very thankful that they're leaning into the love and drama aspect of it. It's very nice for me. But yeah, no, absolutely unparalleled writing. It's amazing. Please go watch it if you haven't. Chat. Like, it's, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Fantastic. I also feel slightly called out for the whole 80s writing thing, because if it hasn't been obvious, I've been trying to emulate that with Saga, so I feel called out.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? I love it all the same.
Fantastic. So, Doug, what are your thoughts on the remake series?
That's cool. How can I put that?
As nicely as possible?
Good point. At first, when I first found out about Yamato, I thought, "Oh, cool! I like ships. I'm a boat guy," but I didn't really think much of it because I was mainly a train guy as a kid. So after a while, I saw the same video again. For context, it was a video of the Yamato leaving the floating continent and finding a way motion for the first time in the remake with Korean subtitles. Shout out to any of you guys who actually know what that video is. But anyway,
yes, that's my first introduction to Yamato as well.
Well, I saw the video again and I was like, you know what? I might give this a shot. So I don't remember how I did exactly, but I tried watching the series. I thought, oh, this is cool. And by the time I finished it, I was thinking, man, I wonder if there's like a season 2 of this. And maybe like 3 days later, I found out, 2202 was currently releasing. And I was like, oh, cool! I can just skip on over. And then Crunchyroll decided to just take them off completely at some point, so I couldn't watch it for like a year. So that was fun. But I feel I'm going to get off topic if I keep rambling about this. So, honestly, I have to say that I'm liking how it's going so far. Like some of the others have said, like, it's had their hiccups with all that. It's had their hiccups, ups and downs, but then again, one doesn't. Honestly, I'm just glad they mostly stayed faithful to the original source material instead of trying to change whatever happened in the original series. Or at least changes that weren't necessary.
Yes, I have a comment on that one. We don't talk about the bee people.
Oh yes, the royal bee jelly.
Yes, the royal bee jelly.
Yummy.
They do appear in
the royal bee jelly is people's.
Imagine my shock at 16 years old actually watching the original and just comparing it to Star Blazers and going, oh my god.
Oh, man, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
No problem.
Yeah, Ethan, we'll lead into you. What do you feel about the current remake series? Yeah.
Which one?
Any of them. Just the current.
You go first. You first.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot there's 2 Ethans in here.
Ethan
K.
1, Ethan 2.
All right. So if you couldn't tell, I like Yamato a little bit. I like the remake because 3 years ago I found it in my YouTube recommendation. It was the same exact video that Doug was talking about with the Korean subtitles. It's full incontinent, I think. And I've had the opportunity. So by the time that I started watching, 2205 was had just come out, the first movie, and I watched the second one, and I got my dad hooked onto it by the time 3199 came out, and so now we're watching it together. Blew my mind. I love the graphics of all of it. I obviously have some gripes with certain season, but it doesn't matter. I love it nonetheless. That's it. I really like the series because it combines multiple interests: modeling, boats, aviation, space, sci-fi. But yeah, that's about all I say. It means a lot to me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Ethan Z, what are your feelings on the current season? Series, sorry.
Yeah, I'd say, like the others, I was introduced to Yamato through that wave motion gun video with the Korean subtitles at the bottom. So when I first got that, I guess that's everyone's gateway if they're new to the franchise. So I think I found it when I was like 6 or 7, like I said earlier. My recommended was filled with like all Macross stuff because Macross Do You Remember Love is my all-time favorite movie. And I hadn't like found anything new or similar to it yet, and I found that video on YouTube and I was like, this is pretty cool. So I started looking into it and I found the older version of it, watched that, and I was like, hey, this reminds me a lot of Macross. I should start getting into it. So I began watching all of it, like I think between 6th and 7th grade, and then the pandemic happened and I just binged all of it, including the reboot that was available at the time. And I got hooked onto that, and then I joined Project Argo. This was a 1-to-1 scale version of the Yamato with a full interior on Roblox, and that's how I met Warren. Shout out to him. From there, I became obsessed with 2202. 2205 came along, and now we're here at 3199. I absolutely love the mechanical design. That's one of my favorite things. Character designs too. Through 6th and 7th grade, like all of like the drawings I would make in art class were either like Yamato related, Yuki, Teresa. Those are some of my favorite character designs. Aside from the Macross ones too. Excellent CG. I love the romance. I'm looking forward to what 3199 does with Alphon, Yuki, and Kodai, because I feel like Macross is the only thing that does love triangles correctly. I'm sorry, but yeah, I just love the mechanical designs, character designs, story's incredible, and I wish it was just more popular in general.
Well, hopefully, we'll get more exposure over time.
Yo, guys, I found the video. I found the way. Yeah, I found it. Shout out to Na. Based on that, I feel like not a lot of us would be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
That video alone pretty much made
that video was uploaded in April of 2014. It's been 10 years.
Wow.
So happy 10-year anniversary to that.
That's a while. Before I move on to Lance, there is a comment on here that I wanted to address. Scott Hintz. That's awesome. His comment was, my Starblazers memory is when I met VA Tom Tweedy, Mark Venture, and Amy Howard Nova at A-Con in 1999 and have both of their autographs. That is absolutely phenomenal,
awesome.
Scott.
Sick.
All right.
It's
awesome.
It's really fun seeing where like the here and now of those actors and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure Mr. Tweedy was mayor of a town in Rhode Island recently.
I live right around the corner. Holy smoke.
This is crazy, yeah.
All right, and then just to wrap up the question of what do you feel about the current series, Lance, what are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, I've only seen a few episodes for the remake so far. I tripped over it quite by accident, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. Seeing the updated but faithful recreation has just been absolutely beautiful.
That's great. I hope you're able to be able to see more of it. Like we've said, it's just it's an absolute. I don't want to say chaotic, but that's part of what makes Yamato really good, is that there is a bit of chaos behind the love and the hopeful story that it portrays.
That's what makes a good space opera, you know?
Absolutely, yes. Took the words right out of my mouth.
I am absolutely looking forward to seeing more.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna move on to a couple of the cast questions that I have written down here. I'm gonna start with Antonio.
Hey.
All right, Antonio. So, what character are you currently playing in Saga of a Space Battleship?
I don't know. I mean, no, I'm playing Tasuke. I'm playing Tasuke Tokugawa. Yeah, that's who I'm playing.
For context, for those that might not have seen the original series or haven't seen 2205, Tasuke Tokugawa is one of the original series characters that actually shows up, and in Saga, he actually is fulfilling the role that his. I believe in Star Blazers it was his grandfather. In Yamato, it's his father. Tokugawa was the chief engineer on Yamato, and I felt it to be very appropriate that Tasuke ends up taking that job after being a trainee and a regular crew member in Be Forever onwards.
Yeah, runs in the family.
Absolutely. Okay, so my next question is, do you have any special interests outside of voice acting?
Yeah, I play lots and lots of Dungeons and Dragons. Let's see here. I also am producing my own audio drama as well. I'm in the process of getting that all set up. You can actually go check us out at thearcproject.com and keep track of their journey that we're going on over there. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Next question. What drew you to this production?
Being a Star Blazers and Yamato fan, when I saw it, it just totally blew me away, and I was like, I got to get on this. It didn't matter to me if it was, an unpaid gig for me or not. I'm that big of a fan, so I had to do it.
Just a quick.
I had to audition.
Just a quick follow up to that. How did you hear about the audition?
Boy, that's a good question. I was trying to remember. Boy, how did I hear about? I think I was just scrolling through where you had posted on CCC.
Casting Call Club. Yep.
Yeah, and I saw it, and I just had to do it. Just had to.
Awesome. My final question for you: do you have any hopes or requests for your character going on in the future of the production?
Oh boy, I hope he doesn't die.
It's real.
You know, and request
wise,
wise,
a lot of people anxiety with that thing that I said.
Yeah. No, I kind of I kind of like to see like his background explored a little bit more. You know, like does he have a family at his age? Because he's a little bit older at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
in the timeline that Saga takes place, it's 2230, and the last time we saw Tasuke was in, I believe the original timeline was 2205 was Final Yamato.
Yeah, so I'd like to him like have a reason to fight. Something back on Earth that keeps him grounded. You know.
Well, if there is one thing that you want to keep in mind, remember, I don't remember her name in Japanese, but we got to remember Kathleen.
Yep, I believe that's Tasuke's younger sister. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Antonio.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Gonna jump over to Doug. Who do you currently play in Saga of a Space Battleship?
I am currently playing Shiro Sanada.
Now, a quick follow up to that, because I loved your reply in DMs, because Sanada, by the time 2230 rolls around, I believe he's like in his mid 60s. How old are you in real life?
You'd be surprised. I'm actually only 18. I'm actually turning 19 in 2 days.
Yeah, when you first told me that, I was like, wow, okay. I was genuinely impressed with the audition process. Everybody else was just kind of bland. And then you posted your first audition, and it was very crackly, and I asked you to resubmit. And you changed the voice completely, and it's like, that sounds like a gentleman in his 60 years old. I casted Doug, and he sent me a message, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm like only 18." I'm like, "Yo, what?" So very, very impressed with what you did with that. And this is your first acting role, if I remember correctly.
Ever, yes.
Well, I hope that you're enjoying it, and that your acting skill is able to be honed, and you gain a skill you can use for other productions.
Thank you, and I am enjoying this so far.
All right. So next question: do you have any special interests outside of the voice acting gig you have right now?
Yes, considering this is my first time doing voice acting. I enjoy doing like RTS games. I actually have quite a few hobbies actually. So if there's one thing I've been getting back into recently, it's into the model kit hobby. In fact, I've actually been stockpiling a couple of the remake models. So one day, if I'm ever just really fucking bored, I'll just binge build them all.
How big is your backlog?
So far, not that big. I currently have one of the UNCF fleet collections with the 2 Mirosames and 2 Isokazes. Ginga. And I just got a Pomeria in New York, actually, for $15.
I wanted to join you, but I feel like it'd be weird because I'm like a little younger than you.
It probably would have.
Yeah.
Doug, you gotta go into Hobby Link Japan fast. Those pre-orders for the new Yamato kit are still open, man.
I think there's some. I think Gundam. I think.
You gotta go.
All right.
I think Gundam Planet is doing them still. I'm not sure. Let me double check.
All right, Doug. Next question. What drew you to Saga of a Space Battleship?
Well, obviously the franchise itself, because Yamato has become my life right now. Because no matter where I go, I'm always doing something. Like I'm either humming one of the soundtracks, or people will probably think I'm weird when I'm doing this in real life in no context. But sometimes I'll just have my hand like centered, like kind of like as a Yamato surgeon, just moving them around like they're barrels.
I am so glad I am not the only person that does that.
Thank you. You understand?
Honestly,
I did this
it helps
in
with
the car
animation.
window because Valkyrie's in Macross.
Man, dude, I don't know if it's like because I'm absolutely psychotic, but I pretty much like memorized the entirety of Farewell to Yamato, so when I'm like bored at work, I'll just have it on replay in my head.
Fair enough. That's impressive. Doug.
Although to continue your question though, it was both the franchise as a whole and the fact that I'm thinking, hey, I'm one to act. Like maybe I'll try voice acting, see how that goes.
Fair enough. Final question for you, Doug. Do you have any hopes or requests for your character going forward in Saga?
Yes, I do. I know how in like the OS, like Sada just like could somehow like just analyze like a grain of sand and just somehow figure out exactly when it was created within like 15 seconds. So I hope we get like a little funny gag about that.
Well, I will see what I can do. Trying to keep in the spirit of the original. Yes, Sonata was a bit of a intelligent type of person, but it was brought to a bit of an extreme. He was always the miracle worker, and I'm hoping with Saga I can actually continue that. So thank you, Doug, for answering those questions.
No problem.
Ethan K. We're gonna move on to you. All right. What character do you play in Saga?
Despite what the costume says, I play Jiroshima in the series.
And for context, Jiro Shima is the younger brother of Daisuke Shima, who died in Final Yamato. Do you have any special interests outside of this voice acting gig that you have?
Well, obviously, I love Space Battleship Yamato. If it was not incredibly obvious, I like to build model kits. It's a bit of an expensive hobby, but that's okay. I like film in general. That's generally it.
All right. What initially drew you to Saga of a Space Battleship?
I don't remember how I first saw it. It might have been Warren who showed it to me. But I saw that and I'm like, hey, I can do that because I'd acted before in theater, but I'd never done voice acting. So I was like, I'll give this a shot because I like Yamato and I like acting. So that's what drew me to this.
Now, a follow-up to that with what you said about the theater, is there much of an overlap between going from a theater stage to voice acting, or is it a completely different experience entirely?
So it is very different. The thing with theater is it's instant gratification of your work. And the thing with voice acting is I have to wait a month or two before I can get the gratification of cool voice acting and seeing it all done.
Now, a little behind the scenes tidbit regarding Ethan here. When he initially auditioned, I believe you said you recorded your audition in your car. And
I did.
Then, correct me if I'm wrong, you actually said that you upgraded to a proper, well, not 100% proper, but like a better recording setup with a proper microphone and from day one, there has been an absolute improvement across the board. Ethan actually submitted a whole new set of recordings after he heard episode 1, and he said, I sound so dry. I could do that so much better.
I sound like I'm like across the room.
And like I said, there is an absolute improvement. So I want to say, awesome job, and I continue to hope that you continue to improve at your voice acting craft.
I will. Thank you.
All right, and final question for you, Ethan. Do you have any hopes or requests for your character in the future?
It's an odd request, but Mark Venture and Wildstar in the original, that's Kodai and Jima, were friends in the original. So I'd like to maybe see more of that, considering it's like his little brother.
Awesome.
That's it.
Nope, I wasn't sure if I had just lost internet connection for a second. Everything just froze on my end. Fantastic. Thank you, Ethan. All right, and moving on to our last voice acting cast, Lance. What character do you currently play in Saga?
I play Damien O'Reilly. He's the chief radar officer aboard ship.
All right, and what do you have any special interests outside of voice acting?
Outside of this, I'm trying to figure out how to build video games. Mostly I'm putting together systems that will eventually coalesce into a video game. But yeah, very much figuring things out as I go. It's been a blast.
Fantastic. What drew you to Saga of a Space Battleship?
You did. So my introduction to this overall was from a far different direction from what I'm hearing about everybody else here. But I know two of you have common ground. In that a little while ago I started playing this game called Jumplight Odyssey, which is very much inspired by Space Battleship Yamato and Star Blazers and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but hearing everybody talk about it made me curious, so I went looking, and then I learned why you call yourself Wildstar.
Yeah, it's clear I had a favorite character.
Yep. But yeah, when you put out the word that you were looking for people to throw their hat in the ring and lend their voice to this project, I figured I'll give it a try. We'll see what happens, and it's been a ton of fun.
Awesome, and I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Lance. I'm saying Lance. I hate this, but I don't have the cast list up in front of me. It's actually Richard, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, Richard Gamble. I am so sorry.
No worries. I'm so used to going by the nickname, so.
I'm such a horrible director. I don't even know the names of my cast.
Well, hey, you got to figure it out without me having to say anything. So.
Fair enough. Thank you. And final question for you, Richard. Do you prefer Richard or Rich?
Richard is fine.
Richard. Yep. All right. Final question. Do you have any hopes or requests for your character going forward?
I was actually giving that some thought. If he's the radar technician aboard, that maybe he could, at some point later in the story, if there's something going on where the scanners aren't quite doing their job, that he could contribute to a solution and apply his know-how to fixing a problem. Giving the Yamato better eyes to see.
Fantastic. I'll see what I can do to work that into the story. So at that point, though, that's all the questions I have for the cast. Now I'm going to ask a couple of the crew, which would be Warren and Ethan Z. Warren, how did you get involved with Saga?
Again, you. A couple years ago, I believe back in 2021, we were. I in my own time was scrolling through Google for Yamato content, specifically modifications for video games, and I came across your mod page for Sins of a Solar Empire: The 5 Years of Fire, and but yeah, that's how I got involved with you in terms of like our projects. Previously, when I was like man, like maybe like 18 or 17 maybe, I was looking for 3D models of the Yamato, and I came across your work in progress post on DeviantArt.
Oh
when
no!
you were Yeah, when you were Wildstar 1701, you were making the Kazutaka Miyatake design for the PlayStation games, which you and I have actually now fully realized in this series. So I think that's a really cool I feel like that's a really good way to just put it. It started out with that, and we are here now with pretty much the finalization of that idea. And honestly, I just couldn't be happier. You've given me the opportunity to sort of throw my own creative decisions with this just fantastic design. Being able to keep the strong points that I felt needed to stay with the cartoon, like, yeah, just figuring out all the wonky angles, where to proportion all the bulges and stuff like that. It's been a wild ride, and I'm really glad that you brought me onto this project to do that. So,
okay, since you're one of our modelers, we know that you made the Yamato model, but going forward, are there any mecha designs from the official canon that we've seen so far that you would like to actually create for Saga, or would you like to, come up with your own mecha design for potentially seen in a possible season 2, if we go that route?
Following the classic series fashion, I would like to redesign the Cosmo Tiger 3s that we made. Maybe give them a bit more of a stealthier profile or something like that. Fighter planes, yes. I would love to make a bunch of I don't know. I'm very Earth-centric. I don't know if that makes me, like, xenophobic or something like that. I don't really have a liking towards alien designs, but yeah, no, I love the design aesthetic of Matsumoto's work. I mean, come on.
Just a pause on that one, Warren. Just for context for our viewers right now, that is an autograph from Leiji Matsumoto before he passed away.
Right on.
But yeah, man, that's kind of a big question.
It is a big question, but I think
I'd love to go back and I'd love to make like an Arizona Mark II, something more of like the fashion, maybe some of the mechanized battleships, but expanded. There's a lot of really cool ideas that I have. But yeah, as just more EDF ships in general. That's pretty much it.
All right, Warren. I'm gonna go ahead and ask Ethan Z. What drew you to Saga of a Space Battleship?
Like everyone else, it was you. I don't exactly remember how this started out, but I remembered I became a developer for the mod. I was doing some of the Atlantis ships for you. I did the carrier, which unfortunately I lost the file for that after wiping my computer because it had a huge issue. I still have some of my old models. I think the first thing I did for you was the EDF City and those Caraculums for Saga. So the funny thing about that Caraculum, if you go back to the episodes they appeared in, they have very different panel lines compared to the line art. And that is because at the time I was going through a phase where I was obsessed with Nadia, the Secret of the Blue Water, and specifically the V Nautilus from that show. So I tried to use some of the panel lines from the Nautilus, but I don't know if it's going to come out well. But I used some of their panel line designs from this ship, which is why it appears so different. Yeah. Because originally that model, you told me you were going to texture it. So I said, okay. And one day I got bored and I decided to give it some different kind of panel lining or take on it.
And that second version is the one that we actually use in Saga.
Yes.
It came out so well that I was like, do you mind if I throw out the old one and use the current one? And that's what we've been going for so far.
And I also did the EDF buildings, all of the buildings you see in the episode where EDF HQ and the city appears. I did those buildings because I was doing a map with another friend of mine for the Project Stardust. I'm not sure if it was mentioned or not earlier, but this Roblox game. It was a map for Project Stardust. So it was Tokyo 3 that me and my friend were making, which is the city from Evangelion. I had to make a lot of buildings for it. So I was like, maybe I can reuse some of the aspects from those buildings for this, and I also used some of the reference pictures you gave me. I think I also did the Borodino for you recently.
Yes, which
that was a very
unfortunately hasn't had any screen time yet.
Yeah, but I really had a lot of fun working on it. It had a lot of interesting shapes. Like Warren, I really like the Earth designs.
Yeah, clearly. Which leads me into my next question. Are there any aspects of the show, or things that you would like to see going forward, or anything that you would like to create for Saga in the future?
Maybe some kind of aircraft like the VF-1. I'm in love with the VF-1. It's been one of my favorite aircraft from Macross for a very long time. Maybe something similar to that, but in a more Yamato style, because I remember a couple of years ago I saw on Pixiv a VF-25, but kind of like a Cosmo Tiger, and I was like, that's very interesting. Maybe I should do something like that. I'd like to mix the mechanical designs together. Yeah. And one thing I also like about Macross is all of the ships and stuff. Those are like the SDF-1 was my very first spaceship love, right next to the Yamato. Something with a similar design or take to it, or the other ships that appear, like the ARMD carriers. I love them so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Ethan.
One more anecdote that I'd like to add. So Ethan, what year was it that you joined the 5 Years of Fire mod? I believe it was 2022, like something like that.
Yeah. Oh, keep in mind
Okay.
I'm 15. Keep in mind that I'm 15.
Yes,
like right now.
I would like to say that I first met Ethan when he was 12 years old. He definitely did not lie to me about his age when we first started talking. But
it showed. Like,
yeah,
a lot.
just I love with this fan series, with this community that we're doing. I love how it's sort of like a metaphorical passing of the torch through the generations. Jeff is passing the baton on to me, and I'm also now passing it on to Ethan. And if anybody is going to surpass anyone, I feel like Ethan is going to surpass both of us in the future, because he is a prodigy. He's a prodigy of what he's done.
I want to give some context on that one. Ethan has created a couple of semi-accurate animations based on Macross, and if I remember correctly, you actually won an award last year for one of your animations at your school.
So yes, that was for a Roblox game called Starbase, and every once in a while they'll ask me to parody a bunch of ships. The film you're talking about, I had to rip off the SDF-1 and a bunch of other fighters from that era, I guess. So I created different parodies of them, and I decided, hey, I really like how Saga's going so far. I'd like to create something similar to that. So for Starbase, I made a trailer or teaser featuring my ripoff of the SDF-1 and 2 Valkyries with a, I guess, custom character that appears on screen every once in a while that's supposed to be like a mix of Min-Mei and one of my favorite Macross Delta characters, Mikumo. And one of the things I did after that was, I think a couple of months later, I started modeling the SDF-1 Macross's bridge from Do You Remember Love? And I was like, what if I just reanimate the entire final battle sequence of that movie? And I talked to Warren and Jeff about it, and they were like, go for it. So I had to model a VF-1, like different types of VF-1s, a bunch of Zentradi ships, and the SDF-1 itself. I had to animate their transformations, which was kind of annoying, but if you've been playing with their toys for long enough, you'll memorize all of the transformations yourself, which was absolutely a blast to work to actually animate.
Now,
but
now that video he's talking about right now, unfortunately, is not available to view to the public for the moment. It needs to remain private because it's been entered into a competition. So once that competition is ended, I will personally be sharing it on the Typhon Media Productions page as a community shout out, because I've actually had the opportunity to watch it, and it is phenomenal for someone so young to have pulled off. Ethan, it's just an absolute blast to see how far you've come in such a short amount of time.
Every time you show us something new, it just absolutely blows my mind, because I started doing Blender when I was about 18. So it just, even with 3 years under my belt, with how far you've come, even with your conventional ships that you make, you're on a book cover, man. Like, just, it's very amazing to see how fast you're taking things in, and I know, I'm so proud of you.
Agreed. So we're coming up on about an hour 45 for this live stream, so I just want to ask Tim one more question directly from me, and then I'm going to, for the next, 25 minutes or so, no. I'm horrible at math, people, can you tell? When we hit the 2-hour mark, I think we'll officially start phasing out if people want to take off. But Tim, my final question for you, before I turn this over to the audience, how does it feel to be surrounded by, at this point, multi-generational Yamato fans, considering you were around for the original run, and now it's 2024 and we're on the 50th anniversary? How do you feel seeing the legacy, as it were?
Well, like some of you have mentioned, I wish this community was bigger, but the fact that it's not the size of Star Wars, Star Trek, or whatever, just makes it even more special, because every single one of us is like, concentrated acid. And we, working together, are going to melt the hull of every starship that comes against us.
Fantastic.
Yes,
I do.
very nice.
But to put a finer point on it, I have a grandson now who's coming up on 5 years old, and he's into it. He's teaching himself to sing the original Japanese theme song, for example.
That's awesome.
Right.
And
so adorable.
Yeah, every time he comes over, once a week, we always get down and dirty into Yamato stuff. Today we built the model kit for the 2520.
That's awesome.
Oh,
You have one?
Cool.
Really?
I actually have the schematics for the 2520 mounted on my wall back there. You can see it right there.
Stand by.
That's fantastic.
Uh-oh.
If
now you got him started.
I think it's gonna one up there.
If the remake does conclude, I really hope they continue with 2520. There's just so much.
There it is.
Yes.
Fresh out of the box
Take,
today.
that is one of that. I really love the 2520 designs. I know a lot of people that hate them, but I can't hate it. That looks beautiful.
Now, I need to make a request of Warren. You need to turn around and go grab your minifigure.
What minifigure? Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
And for context, he's currently wearing his Harlock outfit.
I have this vintage piece that I got in high school. I've never opened it, just kept it safe in its acrylic box. And it is the Generation 1 Kodai action figure.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got so lucky finding this thing. You can see the Yamato is actually etched in the casing. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, man.
That's totally sick, dude.
Beautiful.
So actually, a quick follow-up for you, Tim. I don't even know why I didn't write this question down. So you've seen the first 3 episodes of Saga of a Space Battleship now. What are your thoughts, and what do you hope to see going forward?
I just hope the story keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The thing about when you look at the Yamato stories end to end, and I'm talking about the originals here, they keep getting larger because they keep having to top the previous story. which puts you in a position that I'm not jealous of at all, because you are at the end of that long stream, and it's up to you to top everything that's come before.
Well, you have experience with that, Tim, with the Rebirth comics, so you
right.
know.
Yep.
And
and I think you want to dig as deep as you can into the lore and the details, and throw in some Easter eggs. That's the part that was the most fun for me. Was just trying to jam stuff into every little corner. And if nobody spotted it, fine. But I knew some people would, and I knew they would realize what they were seeing, and it would be extra special for them.
Absolutely, I want to take a moment to shout out a couple of people, including yourself, Tim. Saga of a Space Battleship wouldn't have become a reality without seeing and reading the stories that came before it. Rebirth, I tuned into every single issue as they were dropped, and it just got better and better and better. And then I can't remember which issue it was. It was when, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't read Rebirth, it's when Wildstar's having his conversation with Astra about there's always a ship, there's always a crew. That sequence that you would put in there with all the various different Matsumoto franchises in there. I believe I saw some Galaxy Railways, Galaxy Express.
Well, you didn't see that, but you saw the sort of multiverse of stories that have all spun out of the original. And it was amazing to me to see them do almost exactly the same thing at the end of 2202.
Correct.
Like when those bubbles are flying across the screen with all of the different franchises and stuff. Yes, I loved that.
Exactly.
Yep. So.
And I was lucky enough to sit down to dinner with the director of that series on my next trip to Japan. And when I described to him what I had done compared to what he had done, his eyes got massive and his mouth, dropped open. And he reached over and grabbed my hand and said, "Brother."
That's awesome.
That is beautiful.
That's incredible.
But
and what it showed me was that we had been inspired by the same thing, and it took us to the same place. And it was just magical.
Yes. Which brings me back to my shouting out a few people, including yourself. Seeing that sequence in Rebirth and then 2202, I don't want to say it gave me permission, but it gave me the inspiration to say other things could have happened, and I want to tell my interpretation. But I also wanted to respect the late Yoshinobu Nishizaki and not try to continue Resurrection. I didn't want to assume another person's thoughts and drives for their story, so I opted to drop Resurrection as a key event and began plotting Saga of a Space Battleship.
It was actually that idea that led me to if you recall, I tried making a continuation of Resurrection, and that horse ended up becoming Glue. But Jeff said that he had all these ideas, and eventually the Saga is pretty much the evolution of that. And
yep, and
just
I have no regrets. So like I said, I want to shout out a couple more people. I don't know if they're currently watching, but I wanted to shout out Lawrence McNamara. He is the creative mind behind a podcast called The Modus Files, and it is a Fallout 76 podcast that is just absolutely phenomenal. He is actually a huge, I'll say huge Star Blazers fan. We got on a live stream one day and we watched the new Fallout series, and sitting behind him on his shelf were models of the Yamato and the Andromeda, and I got to talking to him, and I want to say he was a major inspiration for me to improve my writing. So, Lawrence, if you're watching, thank you. And another person I want to shout out is Brad Williams. Brad voices Modus in the Modus Files, and he has his own spin-off series called Once Upon a Wasteland. Also, a Fallout 76 podcast, but it's a romance story. It's one of the few that have genuinely moved me and made me think that there was something missing in my life. And without those two podcasts, I don't think I would have had the courage to pursue actually animating Saga. So, Brad, if you're also listening or tuning in, thank you. Two other people I really need to shout out before I turn the live stream over to audience questions is Mike Cunningham. Mike currently plays Kodai in Saga of a Space Battleship. Mike has been a phenomenal supporter and shares all of our posts about Saga on Twitter and on Facebook. I could not have asked for a better person to portray Kodai. Thank you, Mike, for your hard work and your dedication to this series. It's truly an honor. And
you're the man, Mike.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
The final person I want to shout out is Pandora Beatrix. Pandora plays Yuki in Saga of a Space Battleship. Thankfully, we have Discord to coordinate our efforts. And every time I put a scene up for review by the cast, Pandora has been one of the first to speak up and give advice and suggestions on how to improve my animation. And I would say that she's lit a fire under me to improve and make Saga better. So, Pandora, thank you so much for your encouragement and your kind words. All right, guys. So, as I said, I'm going to turn this over to a couple of audience questions. I will be choosing these at random. Viewers, please don't spam the same question multiple times if you're not called on right away. So,
actually, could I interrupt before we get into that?
Yeah, go right ahead, Tim.
It's been a gigantic news day in Japan, so I thought it might be a good idea to just take a couple of minutes here and list some of the things we've learned just within the last 12 hours. There was a 50th anniversary screening hosted by Hideaki Anno, where they showed the first episode. Yeah, the original first TV episode was shown on a big screen at the precise moment that it broadcast 50 years ago on a Sunday night. And then they had a talk show afterward in which they announced the new projects that are coming out of Hideaki Anno's studio, which includes 4 new books that are going to be released in 2025. There's an art book by Michio Murakawa, who is the manga artist for $21.99, and he also works on the anime. Another art book by Junichiro Tamamori, who's the main mecha designer on the Earth side for all the remakes. They're going to revive the original unreprinted manga from 1974 by an artist named Yuki Hijiri, who I met. I collected that manga many years ago just by hunting down monthly issues of the magazine that it was published in, but now they're going to finally bring it all up to today's standards and give it the reprint that it never got. And the 4th book project is going to be a 50th anniversary reprint of the original complete work for Series 1. We know it as the Silver Books. It was originally published in 1978, I think, as a trilogy of Silver Books. All of that material, it was the first time production material had ever been professionally published for an anime series. And it's going to be repackaged and revised into a 50th anniversary edition. Everybody's going to want to get that one. Then the biggest news of all was that Hideaki Anno has been given the rights to make a brand new remake of the original series as a feature film. It's going to be animated, and one of his co-production partners is going to be Yutaka Izubushi, who is the director of 2199. We have no idea what he's going to do with it, but I'm very interested to find out. And then the last bit of news I can tell you is that the original symphonic suite, which was released on LP in 1977, is going to be remixed and re-released this December as a 50th anniversary edition. And that's it.
That's awesome. As we've said multiple times tonight, it's a great time to be a Yamato fan.
It is.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see
also, they're going to be doing more and more live showings of TV episodes on the big screen too. I just learned that. I don't know what the actual schedule is, but between chapters of 3199, you'll be able to go back and watch the original in a theater.
Man.
I'd like to. I can't wait to see what the Yamato looks like in Hideaki Anno's take on it. I remember seeing. Yes, he did so well with Gunbuster and Nadia. I can't wait to see it.
Has me very curious if he's going to take the direction of 3D CG or if he's going to have it 2D animated. I really want to see what he decides to use.
Because as for drawing perspectives and stuff, Nadia had some of the best animation for spaceships I've ever seen.
I gotta admit, I've never seen Nadia. I know I'm a horrible anime.
Well, most of it was filler, but if you skip out on most of the filler, I think it's more enjoyable.
Yeah, keep in mind though that came out in what was it, 1988, 89,
mm-hmm.
And the generation of animators who could draw that way is no longer around. They've all retired or moved on, and so that's why everything is being done in CG now. It's a whole skill set that has been lost across the entire industry.
So I noticed what most artists I'm seeing for animes doing nowadays are making really detailed eyes and stuff, and it's kind of throwing me off. I'm more used to the look of the 80s. Shoot, what's his name? The character artist from Macross, he's still doing some stuff. Haruhiko Mikimoto. I remember reading some of his some of the installments for Macross the First. His style is a lot different compared to what you saw in some of his older works like Gunbuster, Macross. Not sure how to feel about it, but it's a lot different.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna throw a couple questions your way, guys.
I'd like to answer one of the questions from Chris Bruce. Have you guys ever heard of the Galaxy Railways? It's been mentioned a couple of times in the stream actually, and I have this model right here. And my username is actually Galaxy Express 2199 on a lot of platforms. It's a mishmash of two of my favorite animes.
Yeah, Doug, when you said that you were a train guy, in my head immediately, I was just like, all right,
Galaxy Railways.
Who's gonna tell him?
Actually, funny enough, Galaxy Railways was actually not only my first Leiji franchise that I've gotten into, but it was actually, remember when I said about the Yamato Firing Her Way motion gun video was my first exposure to the franchise? That was somewhat of a lie. That was my first full exposure to it, but it wasn't my first. So there was this one music video I saw. It was the opening theme of Galaxy Railways with a bunch of clips, and one of those clips had the Resurrection Yamato in it, and I was like, oh cool, a ship with a mouth.
Oh, I know what video you're talking about. If you recall correctly, do you remember there was that one woman saluting, and then everybody else salutes, and then all the trains start coming in. Yes. All right. So that character introduces herself as Chief Officer Yuki, and she actually has the same voice actress, Yoko Asagami, as Yuki in the original series. That's how those two series intersect.
Nice.
It's funny because I just finished watching those 2 episodes with English subs. Apparently, someone did it.
Yeah.
And
I'm in the server that does it.
Nice.
I found out that.
That reminded
Actually, you
me.
know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna just, if y'all want to know which episodes it's for season 2, episodes 25 and 26. They were DVD releases only. Watch those, and you'll find out a nice little connection between the two.
And one other thing regarding fan subs that I do want to point out is I'm actually currently in the process of rewriting the entire fan sub for Yamato Part 3. And
I noticed the other fan sub because
a mutual friend of ours, his name is Goat and Blondant. He I believe today is releasing his own fan sub of the director's cut of Yamato Resurrection. So we are finally going to be able to see the Yamato Resurrection director's cut with English subtitles. So it's just a lot of cool things developing.
I actually asked him very recently, like during the stream, and he said he wanted it to be perfect, and he said we'll be releasing it hopefully soon.
Very cool.
Speaking of Galaxy Railways, I remember in 2205 there was this mysterious voice of a woman aboard the Desarium. Shoot, I forgot what it's called. The Goroba. I remember hearing her voice. You know the one I'm talking about, right? The one that says, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just get rid of the noise and something like that."
Sink that accursed ship. Yeah, that.
So that voice was really
That was
familiar
the
to me.
original voice actress for
Queen Prometheum. Queen Prometheum, I
Saga.
think. Yes, that too. So
wait, what?
I thought either it was Sasha or Queen Prometheum because she voices Prometheum, and I thought it was associated with Galaxy Express 999 because Prometheum is the queen of a machine empire. So I thought that it had something to do with that. But
Tim,
I don't know how copyright is between both of
Tim,
them.
did I hear you right? Did you say that was the original voice actress for Sasha?
That's correct.
And Queen Beryl and Sailor Moon.
Wow. I did not know that. That puts that into a whole other
You
perspective.
need to complete the 1,000-year dream.
The 1,000-year
Hey,
dream of
Kohan,
Zadia.
yeah, that's there's a lot to look forward to there.
She has a very pretty voice.
What if we're part of the great loss?
Okay, so
I think the most surreal experience I've had with any Yamato voice actress or actor was at Anime Central this year. The voice actress of Marcy Shima from Yamato 2520 picked me out from the crowd and started screaming, "Kodai-kun!" And then she started taking pictures of me with the Yamato, and that was a very surreal moment.
That probably would have been terrifying for me.
Say, I wish I was in the same position as you, Warren, being able to travel to all these cons and meet all these people. The only voice actress that I have met from the current run of the English dub of Space Battleship Yamato is Mallory Rodek, and she plays Yukimori. And actually, I'm gonna step away for one quick second so I can grab this and get it out of its wrapping. But when I was initially starting production on Saga of a Space Battleship, I put together a promotional poster before we made artistic changes to look more drawn, and I brought it in, and I had a conversation with her about it, and she actually signed the poster. I've got it stuffed over in a corner over there. I could go grab it if people want to see it, but
Sure.
she was an absolute sweetheart to talk to. She loved talking about Star Blazers, and she said that whenever it comes to people that enjoy science fiction stuff, she always points them in the direction of Space Battleship Yamato and Star Blazers. I'm just I was absolutely floored. I was stumbling over my words, and when she agreed to sign the poster, I was like, this is it, this is real. And then a few years down the line, we now have Saga of a Space Battleship actually coming out, and we've been joined by two very, very awesome special guests, Tim and Eddie, tonight. So going back, all I can say is that this is a boyhood fantasy becoming a reality, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for allowing and participating in what I want to call a crazy dream.
And
Ain't dream anymore, man.
Tim, do you have anything, any message, anything you want to say to us Yamato fans before we continue?
Oh, I'm just so glad you're here and keeping it alive, because I'm not going to be around forever. And there's only so many more years that I have to enjoy all this. Fortunately, I've made a deal with God so that no more new Yamato things will be made after I die.
Oh!
No, wait.
What am I gonna have?
I think we're gonna have to revisit that deal.
Oh man, the meltdown is
We'll just
real.
keep on
over
remaking
here.
it, guys.
Come
Just
on,
trust.
man. Where's the fine print on that contract? No.
Well, I think about the friends that I've had that have moved on and are no longer with us, who are missing out on all the stuff that they dreamed of seeing. And I try not to dwell too long on that, because it's just tragic that they're not here with us. But the way I look at it, we owe it to them to have their share of fun.
Yep.
I like that.
What was it you said to me the other night, Tim, when we were getting prepped for this about permission or something like that?
Oh yeah, don't wait for permission. Never wait for permission. You'll end up waiting your whole life.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading the chat right now on the YouTube page, and we've got a few requests.
Yeah, it took a turn, didn't it?
We got a few requests, Tim. No dying.
For you to die.
I actually I got to give a quick shout out to one of the comments. It's actually my father is watching this. That's T Lincoln 2168. He's the one that got me into Space Battleship Yamato, and that was he started me on Star Blazers, and I can't remember if I actually said this during the live stream when he first tried to get me into it. I couldn't make it past the theme song. I thought it was the stupidest thing I ever set my eyes on. I was an idiot teenager, and Christmas rolled around.
That's the kind of stuff I listen to.
Yeah, Christmas rolled around, and I finally actually sat down and watched it proper, and I got to episode 6, and my dad came home from work, and I just looked over at him, and I went, "You're right."
Well, Captain Gideon from the from the second season of Star Blazers, Wild Star, you're a fool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he's confirming this right now. He just said, "Yep." Yeah, no, I gotta say thanks to my father who started me on this journey. Without him, this wouldn't have even happened. Honestly, all of this wouldn't have even happened without him.
I have to say the exact same thing to my dad. I don't think he's watching this right now, but without him, without that small little, well, man, actually, wait, hold up, I gotta grab it.
Uh-oh.
This is the first Yamato piece of merchandise that I ever had, and I remember because when I was an idiot child, when I was a toddler, I completely destroyed it. This is the Soul of Papi Nika BPX-01 Yamato. I still have it. This thing is upwards of, I don't know, it's been in my possession for 19 years, and I'm 21. So, yeah. In high school, I rebought a new one. But, yeah, no, I still hang on to this all the time.
Sir,
Incredible.
that shit looks like it's seen some fights.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
I can see the battle damage from here.
Yeah, it's there's like some scotch tape on here from when I tried to fix it in kindergarten. Yeah, it's just
at least you tried to fix it.
A lot of fond memories with this franchise, and yeah, without that gateway, I just So thank you, Dad.
Yeah. No, it's been great. Now I need to go depressing for just a moment. I need to shout out 2 more people just because without them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now, and that is my recently departed grandfather. He passed away September 5th. He was around to see the first 2 episodes of Saga, and he was absolutely shocked to know that a television series was being made in his house. And what got me kicked on actually creating Saga in the first place was my grandmother, who passed away 2 years ago, the day after Christmas. Going forward, Saga of a Space Battleship is not only a tribute to them, but to all who have come before us and have passed away. Without them, we wouldn't be on this journey that we're on. And I just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank those that have passed. Without you, we wouldn't be here. For me, it's my grandparents, and I just hope that they're proud of what we've been able to accomplish together.
Hear, hear.
Absolutely. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm like trying not to cry at the moment.
Emotions are high, man. We get it. It's okay.
man.
I wish I could just.
I just hope I'm able to do the community proud as well, because I'm putting my all into Saga, and
it shows.
I couldn't be happier or prouder to be working on this with all of you. And that goes from the vocal cast to the crew to Tim, who's been instrumental with putting out information on our starblazers.com about Saga. You have my heartfelt thanks, Tim, for that.
Wait till you get my bill.
Do you take Monopoly money?
It's probably worth more.
Oh, a joke.
Yeah,
Epic
I see the cobwebs coming out of my wallet every now and then.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Jeff, for bringing us to this point. I mean,
yes,
this project, like, you can make the models and you can write the stories and you can speak the lines, but with no one to put it all together, it's just those individual pieces.
It takes a lot of energy to just put your foot down and be like, hey, you know what? This is my creative vision. This is what I want to show. And just laying it out there. And I didn't even make it past the concept stage with my project. So just fantastic. Thank you so much.
Closest thing I've done to this was my DORL animation. I'm going to be honest, 90% of that was winged and copied from the PS2 game for Macross.
Okay, so it's one thing to say, oh, I have an idea, I'm going to do this idea, but it's another thing to go out and do that idea. And you did it. And I think that's really awesome. And I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, Jeff, from one show running to another, you're doing it, man. And what you're doing is incredible. And I feel lucky just to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Like I said, I'm trying not to cry here, but
we're not going to make it easy for you.
How about we go to a lightning round of questions?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, 10 minutes. Let's do this.
Hoorah!
So yeah, go for it. I mean, if anybody in the audience has any questions for any of the cast, crew, myself, please put it in the chat. Just like I said, don't spam the chat with the same question like 500,000 times if we don't call on you. There's only about 50 of you watching at the moment, so there's a good chance you'll be called on. So go ahead and put it in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to you.
Oh my god, my whole family's watching this. I'm scared. I'm like really nervous.
Okay, we got the Epic Gamer. What do you guys consider to be the black ship of the Yamato franchise? I think he means black sheep.
Black
Yeah.
sheep.
25-20, I gotta say. I think 25-20.
Now, guys, it's us.
Oh, right to my heart.
Dang. For me, I would definitely say, man. For me, and it's entirely opinion based. There's no factual data behind this. It falls either in between the regular cut of Resurrection or Be Forever because of the thing that they tried to do with Kodai and Sasha. There's, but that's what I consider. But those are, and that's not to say they're bad. They are fantastic, which just goes to show how amazing this franchise is. You can't really call something bad with this, so it's just, yeah, but that's all I got.
I think, in my opinion, it might be 25-20 because of the direction they went for the mechanical designs. Characters look a little different, and I kind of like the way it started out. They started out on, this planet with a bunch of, wrecked ships and stuff, and then they find the Yamato, they restore it, it goes off from there, and I really like that show, though. I really love it. Blue Noah is one of my favorite designs.
It'd have to be. I'm really tired. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I know it's Warriors of Love. It's the movie that was supposed to be Common Empire.
Odyssey of the Audience.
Farewell.
Farewell. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought
That's the one that isn't considered canon, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It was so bad they removed it from the story.
All right.
That's not actually what happened. It was the biggest money maker in the entire franchise. Fans loved it so much they actually wanted it to end there, and so that created the first big split in Japanese fandom, where the people who loved that movie so much didn't want to see it continue on TV, but it did anyway, and so that created two generations of Japanese fans right there. And that movie is still the single most successful installment in the entire saga.
Well, I did not know that. Thank you.
Yeah, and in fact, it was the biggest anime feature film of all time in terms of box office until Frozen.
No way.
That is hilarious.
Wow.
That is hilarious.
Disney.
And I'm talking Japanese box office. Frozen was the one that dethroned it.
Yeah, Ethan. The second those words came out of your mouth, I was like, okay, we're gonna butt heads here. I think.
No, I don't. Okay, let's get this straight. I don't hate the movie. I like it.
Yeah.
Nobody hates the movie.
No, I don't think
It was
anybody.
I had to pick something. I had to pick something.
By comparison, I
It's all
haven't
good.
seen very much of any of it. I'm still very much at the start of the journey, so I haven't figured out what the color spectrum is for the wool yet, let alone being able to tell which one's the black sheep. We'll see.
Do not let any of our words deter you.
Yeah,
all of them are fantastic. All of them have great qualities.
All of them are good.
Yeah, consume everything and then go to Tim's website and consume even more.
Right.
Sounds like
my vote for Black Sheep is the live action movie.
That would have been a better answer.
Resurrection.
Did we miss anybody before I answer?
Something about I'd like to address Reaper. Are you guys sure it isn't Dai Yamato? I like the character designs.
I was gonna say that. To be honest.
Oh man, somebody actually uploaded 4K quality scans of the entire design booklet of Dai Yamato.
Oh
onto
right,
a
you sent
gallery
that to me a
website.
bunch of times already.
And yeah, no, it's fantastic. The thing is, I feel like the execution was it suffers while it kind of suffers from the fact that
it was meant to spite. I think.
Well,
someone.
no, it's not. It's not that. It was. I don't think there was anything rooted in malice in it. But I mean, like the execution of it, it has all of the bad qualities of 2520.
Oof.
All right. So,
Yeah.
And it's not official. You're talking Dai Yamato?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was created completely independently by Leiji Matsumoto. It's not connected to the original series in any way.
All right.
What threw me off was that white
Dang
space train
Japanese
that flew
lawyers.
into the funnel of the ship and came out through the what would be the auto nav room. I was like, they have a whole station in that thing?
That's what perplexed me for a while.
Like, I was like, oh, cool, space train, but why does it need to go inside of the Yamato?
Oh, jeez.
Well, we've eaten up 10 minutes on the first question.
Yeah,
So, what are we going to do?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to quickly answer that one myself. For me, it was 2202. There were certain design choices made that I just did not enjoy. Namely, the mothership for Gatlantis.
Arc of Destruction?
Yes, the Arc of Destruction. I loved the Comet Fortress of the original series, and I was looking very much forward to seeing that recreated in 2202, and then they came out with what they did, and I went, what?
The only thing you'd recognize from it is that part on top with the what I like to call the eyes.
Yeah, and that was from what I call it the Planet Killer. Thanks to Sea of Stars, but I don't remember what's actually called. Oh, the Portent of Darkness.
Yes.
In my opinion,
am I allowed to spoil something for Saga, or should I keep my mouth shut?
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, no
Okay.
spoilers
Keep
for
your-
Saga.
Okay.
So,
But
like Tim said, we ate up 10 minutes on the first question, so I want to jump on the next one. And this one is directed at Tim specifically. Tim, what's your favorite piece of SBY merchandise?
Wow. Boy, that is a deep vault. I got to go back to those books I talked about earlier. The trilogy of hardcover books that came out in 1978, which we refer to as the Silver Books. For what they represent, it was a big turning point. It was the moment when print media was shown what could be done with anime content, and it changed everything. The same way that the body of music created for the first series changed how anime music was viewed, and to me it represents such a big inflection point that I have to keep. I'm staring at it right now up on my bookshelf, and I just get goosebumpy every time I see it. It's like it's a dream come true for all of the fans who watched the original show in Japan and went to the studio and just grabbed up copies of whatever they could get in terms of storyboards and scripts and animation designs. And they cobbled together fanzines out of it, and that's what led to the rise of anime fandom. But for the studio that generated the stuff to actually do it justice in print form, it's like the Yamato Bible. I got to call it the Yamato Bible. Beyond that, there's a whole body of merchandise that I just love that came out during the first TV series in 74, 75 that was completely wrong-headed from the start because it was aimed at little kids. They thought little kids would watch it because only little kids watched anime, Only little kids watch anime. And so there's books and candy toys and figures and all this stuff that was perfect if you were 8 or 10 years old, but nobody bought it because the real audience was older than that. And so I like kind of sifting through that body of merchandising because it too is a turning point between the old production model and what was to come later.
Awesome. Okay, so
yeah, and it's all on the website. You can go revisit it anytime.
Yes, I was going to say ourStarblazers.com. It is the source for the English-speaking world for anything Yamato related. Go visit it. I'm prodding you all with the stick. Go visit the website. All right. So following the original question of what do you think the black sheep was of the franchise from Ian Twinning. What's your favorite series or film of the entire saga?
Be forever. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with it. Oh man, that's a really hard split. I love Final Yamato, and I also love Farewell Yamato. Both of those concluding pieces are just fantastic. But my favorite piece of Yamato media, and man, it has to be the Bolar Wars extended comic by you, Tim. Like, that is my favorite all-time piece of Yamato media. It's
yes, you, Tim.
like, yeah, I can't even really put it into words how much I love what you did with the setting, but the entire background, the scale, the way everything just sort of ends on such a perfect it was perfect down to the last minute detail. That's all I can say. Just fantastic work on that.
This man over here using
Thank you very much.
All right. So same question goes for the rest of the cast. What's your favorite series or film?
Farewell for me. Actually, you know what? If we're talking like the original series, I'm going with Farewell. But if we're talking like for the remake, I'm going with Odyssey of Celestial Arc.
That was good, yes.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I love the Hotel Yamato sequence.
I love the art direction for it.
Man, I feel like a filthy casual next to you guys.
No, dude, it's all good, man.
I'm gonna say, I feel like my bank account is in serious danger now because there's a whole list of things that go way beyond.
I think the only person we haven't heard from was Ethan K.
Okay, I gotta be very careful with this. So I have three. I'm gonna do original, remake, and then fan. So this is gonna sound really weird. I watched Farewell. I watched the Fandom version. That's the one that I did, and I really liked it. I really liked the Battle of Saturn. That part in particular. For the remake, Celestial Arc, and for fan things, Rebirth. I really like Rebirth.
All right. And before I reveal my choice, I love how none of you said Saga.
Oh, come on.
So, I'm going with the fact that we're the black sheep.
We don't know what the whole thing is about. It's too early to rank it.
Fair enough.
That too.
Can you fault me for saying that?
No, not really.
By the way, my favorite is Yamato 2.
Yep.
In my opinion, you can't beat it. It's the perfect story.
I have to mirror Tim. My favorite is probably going to be Yamato 2. It's just the scale of the conflict with the Gatlantis Comet Empire. I was introduced to it through Star Blazer, so I default to Comet Empire. Just the overall scale of just the conflict with the Comet Empire, and the fact that it was the first time we see, at least in my experience, someone trying to give back. We see, in Quest for Iskandar, someone offered help. Now it's Earth's turn to help someone else. And that resonated with me a lot. But it's tied with Final Yamato. That was the first time that any kind of media got me to cry from what I was witnessing. Just the story of Yamato and, being on the journey with them as a viewer and watching, spoiler alert, the Yamato be sacrificed to stop the floods of Aquarius. It was a gut punch. I was shocked to see that this was the way it was going, But I took from that sometimes, in order to save the people that we love and cherish, sometimes a sacrifice is needed, and that it taught me that I needed to, cherish those that I have around me, and that if anything were to happen to them, I need to be one of the first people to, for lack of a better term, jump out in front of them, in front of the speeding bullet, because I would do anything for my friends and my family. And I have Yamato to thank for that. So yeah, moving on to the next question that we see in here from Kalani. Do you guys think a 2D or 3D Yamato would be better for future use of the franchise?
Ooh, okay, that is very, very tough.
That is a
2D animation allows you to. Both of them have their benefits. Both of them have the downsides. 2D animation allows for a lot of like very exaggerated. Oh man, there is so many good examples of how to use 2D animation for amazing effect with scenes in mecha and stuff like that. But there are also so many good reasons as to why using 3D CG is the default, because 3D CG, you're more in line to stay consistent with the blueprints and stuff like that. But in my opinion, I would have to say 2D animation, because you can experiment with those shapes in such a better way. Like the way the Cosmo Tiger 2 like changes like the cockpit angle in Be Forever, like that sort of like perspective and stuff like that. You can see that they try to it had such a lasting effect that they try to replicate it in 22022 to varying degrees of success.
I remember seeing two scenes where they looked very cel shaded in 2D, and I was like, is that 2D or 3D? Like the way they were shaded compared to like the other models in some of the shots, I was like, that's got to be 2D.
So you could do a lot more for cheaper with 3D animation, but the fact that that the goal of 3D CG is to emulate the look of 2D animation pretty much just speaks for itself. One necessarily is not better than the other, but it's oh man, it's a pretty big question.
It really is. Me personally, I like the approach that they currently have going on with the current remake series. It's a nice blend of both 2D and 3D CG, executed to a point where sometimes, like we said, you can't really tell the difference. But for the Yamato herself, and I might be biased, just because I get to play with a 3D model of the Yamato on a daily basis at this point. That particular ship it looks good in 2D, but in my personal opinion, it looks better in 3D. As Chief casually caresses his own model. Tim, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the horse has kind of left the barn in terms of that one. We have a 3D Yamato. The model of it is considered to be official. It's been the basis for anime and also merchandising. And I think you can't put that back in a bottle. But everyone who's involved wants it to feel like it did back in the old days, when animators could distort it to make it look cool, to find different ways of giving it character. And they're going to continually experiment with that on the 3D side as well. And so I think ultimately we're going to end up with the best of both worlds, but because of where we are in terms of the skill set of the industry, with so many people, having moved on, we are kind of stuck with 3D for the future, because those are skills that are not being relearned. So I think we kind of have to settle on 3D in terms of moving images, but we can always look forward to really cool 2D images in print media. They'll be around forever.
Awesome. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
One of the combinations that I actually found really interesting was 2D characters, 3D world. And if you can basically match the frame rate for the 3D world, it's not jarring compared to if you have like smooth 3D and then, 24 or whatever frames per second for your animation on the characters. If there's a desync, it's distracting. But if you match the two, it's a really neat combination. But yeah, I agree. It's like you are losing that entire skill set at this point.
So what you're saying is that you are a big fan of Don Bluth films from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Titan AE. It was a blast.
I was going to say, if Titan AE isn't mentioned, I'm going to be disappointed in you. You did good.
Tim, why do you suppose it is that that skill set, went to the wayside? Exactly. There might be
I
more
think
than one reason.
because anime moved away from sci-fi. It was the driving force in the 70s and 80s. But when we got into the 90s, it shifted into character drama. And we've reached a point now where sci-fi is in the minority. And so if there's more work to be found in character-driven animation or, other genres that are not sci-fi, the training is going to focus on that because that's where the greatest need for workers is. And so, sadly, the people who are really good at depicting sci-fi have aged out and were not replaced by a new crop. And so that's why it's so heavily reliant on CG now.
See, I'm wondering did they not see this coming kind of a thing? Was there no interest?
It always follows the money, and the money follows the ratings. And so, ratings are determined by age group usually. And so as the viewing audience for anime shifted away from adults and back into teenagers in the 90s, that's where all of the money went. And so ever since then, they've been chasing that dollar. But they're going to have to change pretty soon because Japan is an aging society.
Yeah.
I see a question.
The birth rate has gone down and down and down and down. And so there are fewer children and fewer teenagers and, fewer young people.
I see a question from SUS Reaper. It was, do you guys enjoy Makoto Kobayashi's Yamato art?
Oh, yeah.
But the question that I want to ask you, Tim, is what happened between Makoto Kobayashi and the current director for Yamato 3199? Because you brought up in your last Yamato travel log that there was like a split, but I couldn't find the reason as I read further.
Oh. Well, the split came from the fact that Makoto Kobayashi is kind of a nutbag. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
And he's extremely sensitive and extremely combative and not a good collaborator. And so when he was working on 2202, he got in a lot of fights with a lot of people. And those fights began to spill over into social media. And that put him on a blacklist. And now nobody wants to work with him.
That's really unfortunate.
His work is beautiful and it's very unique, and I wish the best for him. I hope he finds more and more ways to express himself creatively. But he has just proven over and over that he's incredibly difficult to work with. So that's how it goes.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right. So, anybody else have any opinions on the 2D versus 3D stuff before I move on to the next one?
I hate to bring it up again, but Nadia once again did a very good job with 2D drawings and stuff. The Battle of Paris, I should probably send it to you later, but the ship gets into a fight with this giant red saucer and slams into the Eiffel Tower. It's one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in any anime, and They like the ship's shape stays very consistent throughout the battle, and it's very impressive.
Alrighty. So if that's the case, I'm going to move on to the next question that I saw on the list was, oh boy, this username. This is.
I'm going to have to make this my last one.
Yep. No problem, Tim. So the question is from Kanawha, not Berkshire. I probably pronounced that first word completely wrong, and I apologize.
Kanawa.
Kanawa.
Oh, Kanawa.
Where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years when it comes to Yamato? Personally, I see myself getting back into the swing of things after hiatus.
I think I see myself in the same place.
Hopefully.
How long is it going to take to finish Saga?
Good question. Because, as you know, we work on this in our spare time, and when you work a full 40-hour-a-week job, there's not a lot of hours after the fact to work on this, and I have yet to meet a deadline short of this one. First episode got delayed by 2 weeks. The second episode got delayed by a month, and then this is the first time I've actually hit a deadline. Chief, you need to beat me more with that. You need to work on things stick. Every night when I first started episode 1, he'd be like, "Are you working on it? Are you working on it? Stream it for me. I want to see what you're working on." It's like, I gotta go to bed.
I'm sorry about that.
No. I got to pick fun on you for a little bit for that one. But as far as Saga goes, 26 episodes working on it in my free time. I would say at the rate we're going, it's probably going to be 2 years before it's completed. And that's a combination of me needing to do the animation because I'm insane and doing the animation on my own, but I'm also still actively in the writing process for Acts 2, 3, and 4. And I just sent the scripts to the cast for episodes 7 and 8. And those are the 2 opening episodes for Act 2. Episode 4's animation theoretically should begin tomorrow. I would love to have an episode out every single month. But my track record so far does not speak for that. So as far as myself in 5 years... Don't quote me on this one, even though it's on the internet forever now. I would love to either see one of 2 things happen. Saga be enjoyed to the point where it will deserve a second season, or a final send-off with a movie. Whether or not that happens is up in the air, but I already have ideas. But that's where I would like to see myself in 5 years as far as Yamato goes. Plus, goes without saying, I want to be around for the next 5 years to see what is made for official productions. 2199's era has been a gift, and I would love to see it continue. I'm going to turn the floor over to you guys because I just ranted. I'm sorry.
It's okay. In my case, in the next.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Said he was kidding.
With the Yamato franchise.
He said he was kidding.
Oh, I didn't.
In my case, in the sense of the next 5 years, I want to keep on doing this. I want to keep on going to conventions. I want to keep on. I'm very thankful to be in a current position where I can actually go out of my way to, like once a month, go to places with the love of my life right here. And just sort of like spread the word of everything Yamato related. But on top of that, at my heart, I am a little bit of a little kid. I love toys. And with the new 3D, with the advances in 3D printing technology, like, eventually, I do want to make like my own model kits. I see like Soya, Team Strike, all those guys making garage kits and stuff like that. I want to do the same thing. So hopefully, and also within 5 years, I want to meet Ethan again, and I also want to meet you, Jeff, because we need to do that.
Yes,
that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Hey, for all we know, in the next 5 years, we might do one of these things in person. You know, maybe I'll get lucky on a lottery and I'll just fly everybody out and we'll just have a meet and greet.
I'm game.
Be amazing.
Yeah, I'm down with that sickness.
I was thinking we should meet.
Well,
more
5 years
often.
from now will be the
Hopefully-
50th anniversary of Star Blazers.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
That is right. Yeah,
Yeah.
1979,
That is
September.
true.
Right.
Wow, okay. Well, we'll definitely have to get together again for that one, because I think for
Be there,
a
but
good
be
number of
square.
us, Star Blazers was the introduction to the overall world of Yamato, so that's definitely something we'd have to do again.
Yeah, I do think we should get together more often, and hopefully not in another 50 years.
Transcend generations.
Yep, and I would like next time, to have more of the cast here, because this was all thrown together kind of last minute. I think, what was it, mid last week, Tim, that I messaged you about this? And then Eddie was just this past Monday. I didn't even know if he was going to read the thing, so I am so thankful that he decided to participate. But yeah, I completely threw this together last minute, so next time I would love to get more of our cast involved. So yeah, how about the rest of you guys? In 5 years, where do you see yourself in the Yamato franchise?
Good, Ethan.
Okay. It might seem a
He's on
little
college.
silly, but I'd like to do a diorama of Star Cluster, Rainbow Star Cluster. That's my project for the next. Obviously, I want to be more involved in this project, but that's it. Because obviously, the kits are going to take some time to get because they're a little pricey, especially the 21.99 Yamato. That's it.
Alrighty.
I think in 5 years, the only, if I'm working on a project, with you, Jeff, or, Ethan is an up and coming guy in this. So, Ethan, I'd like to come and work for you at some point in time. Yeah, I mean, that's really the only, future I see with me doing any voiceover work for it. That'd be awesome. I mean, unless I somehow get cast in something that Tim's working on, that'd be great.
The last Blue Eagle animated when.
Yeah.
Now,
Give me a few years to hone my craft, then we'll talk.
I mean, don't we already have the models?
I'll never tell.
I think the only person we haven't heard from is Doug.
In 5 years, if there's one thing I do want to try and get within the near future, it's the 1/1000th Zolgit model kit. Those things are rare, and I would love to get my hands on one just for bragging rights.
Wait, did you just look over at his shelf there for a second?
Oh, this kid's got everything.
Oh, he's nuts.
he's gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna.
Yeah. It's got like a bag of holding back there.
I have a whole bunch of the little mini kits that you could buy at like a hobby shop sitting at my parents' house in a box.
I have the entire rainbow.
I need to retrieve those to make them.
I have the entire rainbow fleet on my desk right now in the Mecha Collection kits too. Yeah.
Okay, so the moral of this story is if you ever want to find something related to the series, ask Chief.
Nah, ask him.
Tim is our Yamato expert. I will say that night and day.
Oh man.
Well, I certainly wouldn't mind continuing to work on things if the opportunity is still there. I don't know what licensing concerns would go into making something interactive like a video game. I'd like to think I'd be a little bit better at putting things together by that point. So we'll see where it ends up.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Tim, what did you say? Don't wait for permission.
That's
right.
Totally fair. Yep.
All right. And, Tim, I know you said you needed to run after that question, but there is one more here that I think I want to know.
I still haven't answered that question.
Oh, that's right.
Slow down, Jeff. Hold up.
I gotta stop drinking the caffeine.
Yeah.
It's okay, man.
So I don't know if any of you have been keeping track, but I've been working on the Star Blazers website for 22 years now, and I see no reason to stop anytime soon. There are boxes and boxes of things for me to still work my way through. A few years ago, I started a series that I call the Vintage Report, and that's where I take all of the expertise that I've gained from writing a monthly report for all the new stuff and applying it to yesteryear. And so I started with the beginning of Series 1 in 1974. I'm currently up to fall of 1980, and there's still a long way to go on that. And the work that I've done on that project has just brought mountains of new information, and it's driven me in directions I couldn't even imagine before I started. I am now in a sub basement of Yamato Media, and every time I break away a wall, there's another layer underneath it. And this is just going to keep going until I come full circle and get to the point where I started writing monthly reports. And in addition to that, there are books I want to translate, and as long as they keep making new movies, I'm going to keep chasing after them and bringing all the news that I can find. So 5 years from now, I think I'm going to be doing pretty much what I'm doing today.
That's dedication for you right there.
I had a question. I had a question for you about the vintage reports. So I do work for a game called Tiny Sailor's World, where I will like model like historical ships for a game, like the Cap Arcona, Statendam, some of the more popular ones. Recently, I did the Estonia. I remember reading an article about a Yamato cruise for the release of Be Forever on a ship called the Mimitsu Maru. I planned on modeling it for that game, but I haven't seen many pictures of it. Like, is what's featured in the article all that you have? Because I'd really like to do it for that game at some point. Because initially, so our community will have this a session, like a few events. So during the holiday season, we'll do a ship for like each holiday. So like 2 for Thanksgiving, 2 for Christmas, etc., etc. So for October, I wanted to do the Mimitsu Maru because, well, October was when the Yamato first aired and stuff. It didn't get enough votes in the community, but are there any like more pictures of it except for the ones on the article, or are those all that you have of it with the Yamato skin?
Well, I've passed that point in the history timeline, so I've published every picture I've found of it. But I don't know that it's that unusual of a vessel. It was used as a car ferry.
Yes,
and
it was. Because I already found
that it's not one of a kind.
So online, I did a little research with some friends, and what was it? We already found some of the general arrangements and plans of it, and there were others that were similar to it. I just want to make like an exact copy of it for the game, so that because Warren here wanted to do some of the Yamato parts for it. So like I wanted to know like where to place like all the decals and stuff of the ship if I ever do end up making it for the game. So that's what I just wanted to ask. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I said, I've published everything that I know about. But all that stuff is available at higher resolution. So if you want to get in touch with me later, I can feed you whatever pictures I've got, and maybe that'll improve what you've seen so far.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. And I know you said that you had to go after that last one, but this one last question that I personally want to know. Out of
He's gonna be here forever.
No. This is quick. Out of all the iterations of Yamato that we have seen, going back from the original series to current, what's your favorite version that has come out?
And we're talking animated versions?
Original series, remake, live action, your choice. What is your favorite iteration that we've seen?
Wow. It's tough to answer that because it changes from scene to scene sometimes, so that you don't even get a consistent look from the beginning of an episode to the end of an episode. I think it was the prettiest it's ever been in Be Forever because of all the extra work that went into depicting it, but they really blew scale on that one. Suddenly it was like 3 or 4 times bigger than it should be in comparison to the people. So I think if you could take that version and scale it down to where it needed to be, that's pretty much where I would land, just in terms of overall aesthetics. I'm just gonna say that 10 minutes after I sign off, I'm gonna change that answer.
Fair enough. So yeah, Tim.
Because I'm trying to think of there are so many little obscure bits and pieces that have been done in the years since the original. One of those has got to be like the ideal version of the ship, and I just can't bring it to the top of my mind right now.
Fair enough. So I'm going to pose that question to the rest of the group, but again, I know you need to run, Tim, so I wanted to say thank you for participating, and
Yes.
We look forward to the next event that we can have you. And I thank you again for your continued support for the Yamato community and Saga of a Space Battleship itself. It means a lot. Thank you.
We love
Thanks
you.
a lot, Tim.
Thank you so much.
No charge.
Bye.
Right,
what a coincidence!
Right, before he leaves.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, it's like this. That's right.
Right back at you.
Hell yeah.
Have a good night, Tim, and thank you again.
So long.
All right, guys.
Unfortunately,
That was awesome, dude. Oh my god. Okay, wait, no, we're still live. We're still live. I can't freak out. We're still live.
Keep it together. Freak out.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bow out for now as well.
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
It's been an absolute blast, and I look forward to the next time we can all get together.
Richard, thank you for participating.
I think I'll
Thanks
head
for
out too
having me.
because it's school night. Right.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, guys.
So long.
See you when we see you.
All right. All right. So,
For me,
yeah, I was gonna
For
say
me?
the answer. Go ahead.
there's only one right answer.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Dun dun dun.
The 1/350 scale is probably my favorite iteration. It embodies all of the strong points of the ship from the 70s and 80s, but with the insane, jagged, like just exaggeration of the 90s. Like, oh my god! And I'm so like again, you can see like the general shape and the design reflected in Saga. That was a huge inspiration for the version of the Yamato that we use. And yeah, no, this is love it. Peak. Perfection. Like, oh man, I can't even. But
yeah,
one thing that I do.
I was gonna say
one thing that
irony for you with that design. I actually wanted to do a different version of it for Saga, and Chief pounded it home. He would not give up on the PlayStation era design.
The one thing that I do wish that I absolutely adore of the remake, if you gave this version of the Yamato the same like bulge line that the reboot is going with the way the light reflects off of the hull, it would just, I would just cease to exist. It'd be perfect. But yeah, that's my favorite version.
All right.
You might be able to 3D print something. I mean, if you cared that much.
Oh yeah,
I will. I was gonna say, what do you think's behind him?
Fuck.
He has the capability. All right, Antonio, favorite iteration that you've seen so far throughout the series?
I mean, honestly, like, what is it, 21.99 or am I getting that wrong again? Yeah.
No, the
Yeah.
of the
That
remake.
one. That's the first one. Yeah. So like that's the first of the new ones. Yeah. I mean, it was just visually like in my face. The voice acting, the musical composition, everything. It was just like in my face, and I wanted it.
Nice. Very nice. Ethan?
Okay. So I like the Andromeda. I like how they did with the perspective. The OS had the perspective of the Andromeda, and they tried to translate it over the remake, if I recall correctly, and they did that very well.
Well, that's
so
fair.
I love
you, Andromeda. I love you. Well, that's fair, but that's fair. But the question was, which iteration of the Yamato is your favorite?
Oopsie, I misheard the question.
Oh, I guess I did too.
No, that's all right.
It's okay.
I read a similar question in the chat, so I got myself confused. I'm sorry. My favorite iteration of Yamato. The one I grew up on. Actually never mind. I like Be Forever. I like Be Forever.
All right. And Doug?
That's a tough one because it changes depending on my mood. One day it could be the 2202 variant, or the next day it could be like the PS2 game design. Like, I guess it just depends, but for now until probably like tomorrow, like I'm gonna have to go with the PS2 design.
All right.
My man.
And Antonio, do you want to re-answer that? Since you misheard the question initially, or are you just gonna...
No, it doesn't change.
It
It doesn't change anything.
21.99's version of it?
I'm just $21.99 across the board.
All right. Well, I mean, I gotta say
No,
Saga.
Well, you know.
No.
Damn it.
No.
You got me.
If we had to pick official canon,
Oh, sure, yeah.
I have to say Be Forever is my favorite version of it. Just the detail that went into that version of the ship with the additional anchor to paints on both the sides and the bow, I thought filled some kind of weird gap that I didn't even realize was there watching, the first two seasons and New Voyage. So, seeing just the care that was put into the decal work, if you want to call it, not to mention the color scheme for it, I really, really enjoyed them picking that particular color of blue for the primary hull, and the additional tech that we got to see in Be Forever. Just to rattle off a few things that they added in Be Forever was the wave motion cartridges. 1% energy of the wave motion gun per cartridge. That's some explosive damage.
Yeah.
The additional I believe it was Be Forever that also did the first change to the warp, because prior to that, we had the psychedelic 70s. Whenever we went into the warp, everybody was tripping balls. I was glad that we did not have to suffer through that anymore, because initially it was kooky, it was fun. But then by the time you get to New Voyage and it's still doing the same thing, it's like, I'm done with the acid. I'm all set.
I'm going sober.
So, seeing the new warp effect be put into place for Be Forever, that was appealing. So yeah, that would be mine. That would be my favorite iteration of the Yamato. Outside of Saga, of course, because Saga's version of the Yamato has been an absolute collaboration between myself and Warren. Like I said earlier, when I was making the Yamato for Saga, it looked totally different. It was like a combination of Series 1 Yamato with the paint scheme of Be Forever and the length of Resurrection. And Warren looked at it and said, we could do better.
I was gonna say, I loved the colors that you had for it too.
Yeah.
The colors were fantastic. I just didn't like the proportions of the hull.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what, like we discussed, it was designed to look cartoony, overly cartoony, and he just said, I could do it better. Let me see what I could do with the hull. Because he reused my version of the conning tower with some modifications. Because his big thing was, I love the curved windows from Resurrection. Oh my lord, he had to.
There was a lot to just. There was a lot of big things. There's a lot of mini things.
Yep.
A whole lot of mini things. But it was just. It was such a like the result speaks for itself. We love it. It's beautiful, and most importantly, like
it's ours.
It's ours. But also, this is gonna sound really, really weird. It looks very happy on screen. Like, I don't know if you guys are going to get that, but it's, yeah.
It's not supposed to look happy. It's supposed to look mean.
It looks happy that it's looking mean.
But yeah, no, it's just the one thing I kept on recalling when we were putting her together was, I need the curved windows. I have to have the curved windows.
We probably had like a 4-hour long Discord call, and it was just all of us, or it was just you and me going through the design booklets that we had available. We had one from Series 1, we had one from Series 2, we had one from Series 3, we had one from Resurrection, and then we had another one from the PlayStation games, and then we had the entire project gallery that was available to us on Xvanish, and then we had like 3 different 3D models from 3 different sources in front of us, and it was just so it was so tedious.
We kind of just picked and chose the best elements from every single source that we had. And the one element that I was prepared to die on a hill for was the undercut for the underbelly. I thought it was the silliest looking thing, and he pulled out his model and he said, "But it looks right." And
he's talking about how he wanted a
nice
smooth profile like this, and the way I did it was I did a
well, just grab your model. It showed on the model.
Yeah,
that you
almost
just had
like
picked
that.
up. So we can,
Oh my god, this chair is not bolted in correctly. Every time I lean over, I almost die. Okay, so
Sorry, me too.
Yes,
but yeah, so you can see it follows a S curve like that.
Yep.
But the thing is, when you position it like that, you can see. Like, do you guys get it?
Yeah, it's you get to see more of the third bridge, and the bulbous bit on the bottom of the model more. It was kind of obscured when it was just a flat surface, and he took a solid 2 weeks convincing me to change the design, and I was just like, okay, make it, and we'll see how it goes. And that's the current
I remember you messaged me last week and you said, you outdid yourself. There is no bad angle on this thing. I was like,
yep. And I want to actually address a comment from Logan Darklighter. No more lecherous robots. Analyzer needed a serious adjustment to his personal space algorithm. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That was the big thing that I changed in Saga. There was a flub in episode 3. There was supposed to be a shot of when Yuki wakes up, she's supposed to look over, and it was supposed to be an over-the-shoulder shot of Analyzer standing next to her bed, offline. Well, he's not awake. And I want... And in Saga... This is going to be addressed later on, and it's not a major spoiler, but IQ9/Analyzer has greater respect for Yuki in Saga than he did in the original series.
He respects women.
Well, he respects her because of her achievements. She's now the captain of her own ship, so you can't run around goosing the captain of a ship.
I mean, if you're gonna goose somebody, it might as well be the captain.
Not to mention she's married and has a daughter.
Bro.
Oh, so that was one of the things I was gonna die on when it came to writing Saga was I can't have a luxurious robot.
I don't think any of us were opposed to getting rid of the Pervopot 9000 aspect of Analyzer. Like, just
I was not opposed to it.
So we'll see later on down the line that he actually does respect her, and
Wait, who do you have voicing Analyzer?
Nobody yet, I don't think.
Oh, interesting.
No, me. I'm gonna be doing.
Oh yeah, that's what you're yourself. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I really like just completely off topic. I really like the way that the stream has progressed, and
yes,
honestly, I would love to do like behind the scenes videos in between episodes of us just talking about our current progress, like because like being able to talk about like the design aspects and like just everything that everyone's been thrown at. I feel like they deserve a spotlight. So you know what, it'd be neat to have just a little bit of extra content.
Absolutely, and my dad just left a comment on the YouTube comments. He got neutered for IQ9. Yes, yes, Dad. I neutered him for a reason. And the reason being is I wanted to create Saga as a series that my grandparents would enjoy, and they're from a time where things needed to be very child appropriate. And
you cannot lift up the skirts.
Right.
You can't. No
robots playing grab ass. We can't do that.
My grandma wouldn't let my dad watch Speed Racer because it was too violent. Then again, Speed Racer is very violent, but I mean, like, yeah, man. She also wouldn't let us watch Tom and Jerry, and I doubt she would have let us watch Star Wars.
Bro, when I was a kid, I could have watched SpongeBob, bro.
When I was a kid, and I'm sorry, Dad, I gotta call you out on this one. I wasn't allowed to play the Metal Gear Solid series.
What?
Yeah, no. My grandparents used to have a church classroom that they would teach Sunday school kids, and they would send out homework assignments. And when the kids finished the homework assignments, we would go out to the Old Country Buffet to eat lunch. And my grandparents, being the awesome people that they are, took us to a little store called Trader's Mart. And in Trader's Mart, they would sell, various knickknacks. It's basically a pawn shop. But they also had a section for video games. My grandfather bought me a copy of Metal Gear Solid. I brought it home. My parents saw the rating and went, "Oh no, you are not playing this."
Wow. So, the question is, did you ever play it?
Yeah, for the first time, I played it last year because the master collection came out on Steam.
I mean, I just got around to playing Halo, so no shame.
Yeah. But there were a few things I wasn't allowed to do, and that was one of them. Was play rated M games at 12 years old. So, I appreciate what I was allowed to play, though, and consume, obviously, because, like I said, without my dad, I wouldn't be into the Star Blazers and Yamato fandom as much as I am. So, oh my lord, Dad! He left another comment. You're grounded.
You're grounded.
All right, guys. It has been an absolutely fun night. We're about 10 minutes away from 10 p.m. my time. The stream has officially been going for about 3 minutes and 15. I'm sorry, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. 3 hours. 3 hours and 15 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yep. So I am amazed that the stream has gone on this long. I thought it was only going to be an hour and a half, but we're closing on 3 1/4. So it's been a great night. If you guys want to, continue hanging out and chit chatting, that's fine by me. But I would say that we've kind of reached a stopping point, and
yeah,
like I said before, it's a great time to be a fan of Yamato. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff out of Japan. We got Saga to work on, and we have had a great night with 2 awesome special guests, and we've had some great times with the cast and the crew of Saga of a Space Battleship.
Speaking of, I just sent Tim an email.
That's awesome. I'm just glad we were all able to connect like this, and I hope we could do it again for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I love you guys.
I love you more.
Love you too.
Yes.
So we just wave goodbye to everybody?
If you guys want to continue hanging out, that's fine by me.
Stay here.
Personally,
I can hang out for a second after the stream.
Yeah,
I'll hang out for like 10 minutes after the stream.
All right, so I'd like to say that's a wrap on the 50th anniversary live stream and showing off Saga of a Space Battleship Episode 3. I know the question's gonna come up in a few minutes. When's Episode 4 coming out? To be determined.
Yeah, you got to follow that. That was an intense episode, and gosh, I can't wait for you to what the follow up is.
Actually, that I completely forgot to. Did I forget to ask you guys what you thought of the episode? No, I did that after as soon as.
No,
the
but
ended.
you did forget to include me on the credits. But you know what? That's who's keeping score here.
Did I? Did I? Oh, no, if I did, I am so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, actually, no. You're in the opening credits.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Main cast member. So you.
I'm not even on the opening credit. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I know my place. I
I just like giving Jeff a hard time because it's Jeff. So.
Hey, Jeff.
Sad Jeff.
I'm gonna go cry in my corner now. I'm so mean. But yeah, I look forward to continue putting out scripts and working with you guys. So
yeah, absolutely,
thank you very
Jeff.
much.
It's been great working with you so far.
It's been awesome.
Alrighty, guys. We're just about to hit 3 hours and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna say that the live stream has been a success, and I want to just say to the audience that's still stuck around, thank you very much for joining us tonight and asking questions and interacting with our cast and our guests. You've been great. I look forward to next time.
Happy trails to you